Hello, and welcome back to another Couch Conversations. Today's video, today's live. Wow, well overdue. I've seen a lot of your comments. A lot of you guys are excited. So am I, because I want to get into these ingredients. I want to get into these products. I want to get into all the things with Amena today. Our guest is well versed in the natural hair world, and I don't want to butcher all of your work and your career. So I'm going to pass you the mic and let you introduce yourself.
Thank you, Jen. Happy Friday, everybody out there. I'm Amena Soleil, and I am a master cosmetologist. I've been a licensed cosmetologist for a little over 10 years. And the difference between a proficient or experienced cosmetologist and a master cosmetologist is just simply the number of services in which you specialize under the cosmetology license. And then, of course, how many heads have you touched over the course of your career? Like how many, them 10,000 hours have you put them in? And are you learning, growing, and expanding in the mastery of your craft? Right. So my primary specialties when behind the chair were natural texture, of course, all textures, 2 through 4 mainly. And color. I love me some color.
I've
Gotta,
seen your
gotta,
page.
ma'am, gotta do it with care and knowledge, because if you don't know the characteristics of the hair that you're working with and all the ingredients, it's very easy to mess up somebody's hair. So color, natural texture. I've been a braider for over 20 years. So my clients, they get to get that, and then all types of natural styling. So I would do some limited heat styling because I'm here to help women embrace and love their natural texture. And so how do we do that if we're not wearing it majority of the time, right? Also lead us away from all the toxic ingredients in relaxers and other styling products that we'll get into later. So did that for about 10 years in 2 different states, owned and operated a few studios, and decided to step from behind the chair, 21, late 21, to just focus on expanding my product line and moving into the holistic health coaching space. And this is just building on why I wanted to specialize in natural hair, right? Like natural hair is not only a celebration of self-embrace and self-love, but also increasing our wellness by eliminating a lot of toxic products and things. Relaxers, number one. But beyond that, number one, buy relaxer. But beyond that, there's a whole another level of just needing to get well within our bodies. And we do that through food. And so there's a lot of preventable disease that's on the rise just because of what we're eating. A lot of processed foods, a lot of hormones, drugs in the foods, a lot of awful things. And now I'm at the space in my career where I can actually coach people on how to prevent and reverse disease using food, but still take care of the hair with the products that I offer and the products that I recommend. So I think that's pretty much all I want to say about me.
Just a short introduction.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I want to say about me.
But
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on the channel, on the couch, if you will, because of how adamant you were about just holistic health, right? Just taking care of yourself from the inside out. And I read your ebook, not entirely. I'm still going through it. I have a baby, okay? Forgive me.
I know, you're busy. Keep on.
I'm working my way through. But one thing that you are very adamant about is taking care of yourself, making sure that you are um just seeing the body 360. It's not just what we're putting on, it's also what we're putting in. And I love that. And my own experience with holistic health happened, I want to say a couple of years ago, where I've talked about it a little bit on my channel, but we're having a lot of issues conceiving, which I've talked about a little bit, but not too much. And when I was like, okay, I got to do something about this. Like, I'm only in my 30s. Why is this happening? And come to find out, it's a lot of the food that we've been consuming It's the products that we're cleaning our houses with. It's
Mhm.
the it's everywhere. It's
It's
literally everywhere.
everywhere.
It's the candles that we're lighting. Oh, self-care. But now it's toxic care. That one broke my heart because I'm a candle person, around the house, everywhere. And then turns out there are things
That's
that are
synthetic
affecting
fragrance.
us.
That's synthetic fragrance.
Exactly. And we're burning it, and that's
And you're
affecting us.
breathing it. Mhm.
And in my, I guess, my own little testimony, it only took about a year, less than a year actually, for me to conceive, just by switching my diet, really getting down to the nitty gritty details, starting to read ingredients in the back of the things that they're feeding us. And once I
Mhm.
started doing that, I was like, oh, excuse me, so everything's killing us.
Right.
Like,
What can I eat? What can I do? Can I breathe? Like, you feel like that for a minute.
you feel like that for a minute. I was like, wow,
Mhm.
what's going on? So then when I was reading your ebook for a second, I was like, so everything's toxic. Like, that's just,
A lot of
this
it is.
is the life, ladies and gentlemen. All the products are toxic. Goodbye.
Most of them are, and it's heartbreaking. And my hope is that as knowledgeable, educated consumers, we can initiate a shift by what we choose to buy consistently. Because if these product makers are become aware that, hey, my stuff is sitting, what I'm saying, and we're more vocal about, yeah, we need you to take this synthetic fragrance out, like what is this phenoxyethanol, like why is it in here, um maybe they'll make some changes. Like, I know that there are some brands out there that are really focused on being truly natural and healthy for not only the hair but the body system and the environment. They're there, but they're the minority.
Yes,
And my hope is that, like, consume educated naturals were like, hey, yeah, nah, y'all gonna need to get some of this out of here if y'all want us to keep
mhm,
using it, because our health is more important.
absolutely. And ultimately, we get to dictate, um, like you said, how brands are behaving, especially with the products that they're creating. If we're not buying them, and if we're educating ourselves, and we say, "Hey, no more, no more of this, no more for our health, our families,"
Mhm.
then that's how we drive change. So today we're gonna get right in the nitty gritty detail of this no oil and butter situation. I don't know if you know, Amina, but you're walking into a very messy situation. Just a
I
little bit.
see a little bit of, some of the stuff that was going back and forth.
Back
Yeah.
and forth. And it's really hard for me to navigate this space because just to set the record clear, because I think some people may not understand what I'm trying to do. I started the no oil and butter regimen in 2021. So it's been a couple of, maybe almost 3 years now. And once I started it, I immediately felt like there was something there. I'm like, oh, okay, this is a very streamlined way of taking care of our natural hair. We don't have to do too much. We don't have to mix this and that and spend all day in our hair. And I was like, okay, that's cool. That's cool. But then fast forward to now, seeing what's coming out and how a lot of women are struggling and the damage that's occurring, my thought process is, how can we improve this? How can we make it better? So it's not
Mhm.
going backwards. I still think there's something there that can be improved on, especially when there's a lot of women that are coming out. Now, it's not just one or two, it's a lot of women coming out saying, hey, I'm having issues with this, especially over time. I think some women started and they're like, wow, they have this wow effect that a lot of us had, where my
Mhm.
hair is curling, my hair is looking good, I can do these wash and goes, it's improving over time. And then it's taken like a sharp turn where the integrity of the hair is being damaged. So just
Mhm.
to make sure that we're all on the same page, because I like people like to tussle and add
Right.
things, add seasoning when the meat is already seasoned. We don't need
Right.
extra salt. We don't need extra pepper.
I
We
feel
just
you.
need to get everybody on the same page with this regimen. And I actually prepared a little presentation to make sure we all understand what we're talking about, just to frame the discussion.
Yeah.
So let me just pull it up. Ooh, there it is. Oh, I like this, y'all. This is a new little platform that I'm using, by the way. And I'm glad that everything so far is working out well. So, the method that we're discussing is no oil, no butter regimen. And as often as, or we talk about it a lot, and I think there's a lot of misinformation around the regimen itself. But the way that it was presented to us is to make sure that you wash your hair as often as your lifestyle requires it. So if you're working out, if you are, your scalp be sweaty, then go ahead and wash your hair. Don't wait a week or 2 weeks or a month, God forbid, to wash
Right.
your hair. Your scalp is
Mhm.
important. Make sure that it's
Mhm.
clean. We're also advised to condition our hair, especially with quality products. That was very much emphasized because at the beginning, a lot of people had the same questions that I had, like, what is a quality conditioner? What's a quality shampoo? Because, shampoos are shampoos and there's so many different ones that we use. I don't think a lot of us were looking at ingredients that way. So, what's a quality product?
Mhm.
But in any case, the consensus was to condition our hair after washing it and then go into a wash and go. Now, the wash and go was the style that was, I want to say, pushed because according to, the I guess I might as well come out and say the names. According to Black Girl Curls, it was an easy style that you can master, or a style that can be your go-to. It's easy to wear your hair, wear your curls as such. So layering gels to get your desired result. So that was basically the regimen. You wash, you condition, and style, and you do that as often as you need to, and preferably no more than 7 to 10 days in between because your hair would dry out. Now, a lot of this is where people start to tussle because they're like, well, leave-ins were recommended. They really weren't. Oh, someone said once or didn't say. We're not going to go by he said, she said. We're just going to go with what, the creators of this method said, which was leave-ins are not necessary. Deep conditioning isn't necessary unless there is a particular issue. Definitely stay away from raw oils and butters. Those were just from the beginning. No, no, that was top of the list. Especially products that had oils within the first 5 ingredients. If you are going through the detox period, do not use those. And the recommended products, at least the main ones, are the products that we're going to discuss today, which is Malibu Sea, Undo Goo, AG Balance, AG Boost, Uncle Funky's Daughter, Curly Magic, as well as Innocence I Create Hold. So those were the main products that were recommended to achieve the wash and go. And I specifically remember a stylist saying that there's nothing like Uncle Funky's. Like, because people were having issues like, oh, I'm allergic to botanical gels, or maybe I'm allergic to this one ingredient. I don't like aloe vera or something. And they were like, there's nothing like Curly Magic. It's the holy grail of humectant based gel. So now that we're all on the same page, did I miss something? If I missed anything, y'all can put it in the comment section. But that was basically the method and the way that it was presented to us. So a lot of us were just embracing this wash and go lifestyle, which is very much very different than what we've been doing from YouTube University. Like someone like me with tight curls, 4C hair, if you will, was not doing wash and goes. That's
Washing
just
up.
not something that I was doing on a regular basis. I was washing and styling my hair every week, but not in a wash and go. And
Yeah.
someone actually, thank you, Luna. Luna said, don't forget Most Def. Most Def, I know, I didn't put it on the list, but Most Def is another mousse that was recommended that you could
Oh, okay.
layer.
So all right.
So it's a mousse you layer on top of Uncle Funky's base gel. But that base gel was very important, integral part of the regimen.
Okay.
Yeah. Do you have any questions on how it was presented to us and all of that?
No, that seems pretty straightforward. And I want to say that what I think is beneficial about the method is encouraging naturals to wash their hair more often, because I've been around the YouTube university and all that for a long time, popping in and out, because like I've been natural since like 2011. And back when I was on here, it was just so much, so just everything was going on. I mean, people was putting monostat on their
Yeah.
hair,
I've been around those days. Yeah.
no face, no so face. I mean, it's just all this stuff flying around. But one thing that stuck out to me, especially when I became a professional, is that somewhere along the line, we got this idea that washing our hair is not the thing to do. Like we need to stretch out when we wash our hair.
Mhm.
And so I have a idea of why that happened, because people became aware of how damaging sulfates were. And so maybe they felt, well, you don't want sulfates to touch your hair that often. Maybe that's where that came from. But anyway, what the Black Girl Curls method did get right is that we need to be washing our hair more often, because
Yeah.
the water is where the hair gets the moisture. And the more often you saturate your hair with water and are able to keep it in the strand longer, the higher your hydration quotient in your hair goes up. And when your hair is hydrated, it's more elastic, it's less prone to breakage, period. It's
Mhm.
stronger. So that is the part that they got right.
Good.
Um, where it went off the rails is so the undergoo, that shampoo is very, very, very aggressive.
Okay,
And
okay. Wait. Stop. Before we even get into these particular products, you know what? Let me take this moment to give them their flowers. They did
yes,
get a few
they got
things
that
right,
right.
in my opinion, which
Mhm,
is washing your hair, and washing your hair more often as you need to. And I think a lot of us, like you said, shied away from washing our hair.
mhm,
It definitely wasn't the thing growing up. I mean, bless my mother's soul. She had 3 kids. So I can tell you my hair wasn't being washed that
mhm.
often. So washing, the emphasis on washing the hair and keeping the scalp clean is definitely something that they got right. The
Yep.
second thing I think is just simplifying the routine where, like you said, people are using monostat on their scalp. There's some a rest every year. There's a new trend when it comes to hair care.
Mhm.
Using this oil, using rice water, using clove water, using this. There's always something,
Yeah.
and that just seems to keep adding onto the regimen. It's like we're
Mhm.
chasing growth through a bottle, through a product, through something that we need to add into it. It's like we're always missing something. So there's always the emphasis of let me add to the regimen. And I think they simplify it where you don't need a lot of things. You can just wash, condition, and style, for example. So I would say they got
Yeah.
that right. And the
Yes.
third thing that I would want to argue, and I think that's a really big one, is empowering women to wear their hair with shrinkage, really embracing shrinkage, especially
Oh,
with
yeah.
someone with tight curls, someone that has a lot of shrinkage, like myself. They the messaging was wear your hair, learn your hair, and wear your hair as is. And I think that's actually a very big, a powerful message in the
Absolutely.
natural hair community because we always want to change our hair. We want to straighten
Mhm.
it, we want to stretch it out, we want to show off our length. And the emphasis was wear your hair, embrace it.
Mhm.
And I would say those are the top three powerful messages that they had that also changed the natural hair scene. So
I agree.
we gotta give credit where credit is due. My mom always say there's like a Haitian saying that says "Haïtien dit dans le blanc" or something. Basically, you can hate the dog, but you have to say the teeth is white. So it's like a Haitian thing, but and it's true.
Mhm.
We can go into the problematic aspect of the regiment, but I'm glad that we took the time to give some flowers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I
Thank-
mean, like, washing and going, like, wearing your hair as it is, that's the easiest thing you can do.
Mhm.
After you done, rinse out your conditioner, you put in your stylers and just let it be as that's the easiest thing you can do. So, I love that, and, and I would say too that all hair is wash and go hair or what texture defining style hair. And I like to frame it that way because, a lot of unless you have, like, a really a wave or a loose curl, you're not washing and leaving in some leave-in and going. Like we actually have to take a little time to like layer in our products and then we can go, right? So texture defining style is, synonymous for me with wash and go when it comes to us higher textured ladies. But all hair is wash and hair go. So wash and go hair so long as you feel beautiful and confident in it. So long as you like the way it looks that way on you. So I think that the focus needs to be on helping our hair be its best self instead of coveting somebody else's hair. So I mean if you have the 4Z hair and it don't, coil and spiral like the 4Cs, the Bs, the As, embrace that if that's your hair, love your hair, stop trying to make it be something it isn't. And so yes, they did get the shampooing right because the more that water touches our hair, um, and that we're successful with keeping the water in the hair, the hydration level goes up, the elasticity goes up, the breakage goes down.
Absolutely.
That
And also
is
your detangling goes down as well. And it's at least for me, I can definitely say the more frequently that I wash my hair, the less I have to fight with tangles and knots, etc.
yeah, because you're detangling it at least weekly, or not pushing it out 2 weeks, 3 weeks, what have you, where you have all of these shed hairs that on average release about 100, a day into the rest of the hair that's still attached to the scalp. And so they're just up in there chilling. So if you get on top of them every week, yeah, it's much easier. You spend way less time detangling.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
All right. So we are going to give some flowers to Shelly as well because, well, I should also shout out to Shelly and Rosie because I feel like they're the two main women that started coming out and talk about what was going on with their hair. Like, oh, something's wrong, something's happening. And I think the way it started happening with a lot of women is the fact that it was very good at first. Your hair is very hydrated. It's feeling good. Curls are popping. You're loving it. Your wash day is turning into wash hour. Not that it was ever an hour for me, but whatever. It was getting shorter and shorter. And then suddenly it was hard to get through your ends. Your ends are sticking. They call them Velcro ends. Webbing is happening. And I think we're using these words to try to describe what's the behavior of our hair. Like, okay, maybe I was able to get my fingers through and define my hair really quickly. Now I'm really struggling. So that's how it started happening. So I have a picture of Shelly here. This is her hair before she started following this method.
Hmm.
And, she was using formulated oils and, the regular products that we have over the counters, etc. And then she was seeing her stylist because that's something that's pushed from the very beginning of this is to partner with a professional, see a stylist so that they can help you out with this method because it's so new. And
Right.
that's fair. You're learning a lot. You're learning something new with your hair, and seeing a professional um, can be beneficial, I guess, depending on who the professional is. No shade, but anyway, she was seeing her stylist. Hair is thriving. Her stylist is telling her that her hair is looking good, but she was still. I think she started having issues with her ends. Like, I just got a trim. My ends are getting a little sticky, staggy, webby, velcro-y. What's going on? So she ended up getting a blow dried cut or blow drying her hair to assess her ends. And to her surprise, as well as her stylist, this is what she was looking at. What is
Mm.
going on with my ends? And to get a bigger, close up picture, her ends were splitting all the way up the shaft of her hair. Now, I may have gotten her timeline off because Shelly does a lot with her hair and she's seen a lot of different stylists over the past year or so.
Mm.
But the consensus was she was getting a lot of split ends that look like this. So
Mhm.
did Rosie, and so did a lot of other women that sent me pictures. Like, this is what's going on with my hair. The same thing is happening. I'm loving styling my hair. I'm loving the wash and go. I'm loving the look, but the integrity of my hair is looking like this. A lot of breakage, a lot of dryness, a lot of split ends. And I have a video. Let me play this video here. If I can get it to play. Oh, there it is. So, can you see that?
I can.
You can see how her hair is sticking to each other. Like, you can't even, for a hair that's blow dried, you can't even really get through her hair like that.
Hmm.
So that's basically what we started noticing following this method. And there is a young woman that sent me a picture as well of her hair. She said she was having the same issues. She was, paying the professionals in the digital salon, trying to get help, and they were telling her the same thing. Just keep at it. Your hair is gonna get better over time. It's gonna get more hydrated over time. But she just felt like her hair was always dry using the products that were recommended. She bought all the products, using them to the T, and they were like, it's fine. So this is the before of her hair, and she felt like it wasn't fine. Something's wrong. So she went ahead, took matters into her own hands, and switched her products. That's all she did. Same regimen, same method. She just switched her products into the Kinky Curly line,
Hmm.
and she said never look back. Never had any issues from that point on. Her hair was curling. As you can see, it's drastic different. Like, her hair was always frizzy, dry with the
Yeah.
products, and then she switched them, and her hair is thriving. Oh my God, I have Shelly in the building, and Shelly is going to tell me
Hi,
everything that I said
Kelly.
wrong when it comes to her timeline. But in any case, all that to say, I think there is something with the method and also the products that were recommended. And we're gonna go into the ingredients, which I am so happy that we're gonna do that. But yeah, what are your thoughts so far about, I guess,
So
what we just said?
when I see a bunch of frizz and splitting cuticle, because that's what we're looking at the ends of Shelly's hair. But with the young lady that we just saw, the frizz throughout, what it's telling me is that, yeah, the hair is dry, but what's happening to make the hair dry? Something's eating up the hair. Something's eating up, damaging the cuticle, basically. And the ends are naturally the oldest part of the hair. So they're going to show the damage fastest, generally speaking. But is the ingredients in the product.
Oh, that's it.
It's just what it is. So ingredients matter, just like, think of it like this, right? There's a whole bunch of processed packaged foods in the grocery store. And in order for them to, stay on the shelf, there's all these chemicals that need to be added to them to, stop them from degrading naturally and, breaking down. Same thing is being done with these products, in order to keep them shelf stable. The problem is a lot of the preservatives are also caustic. They are eating up the hair, and they cause health problems. And so we have to really, really, really be careful about what ingredients are in the products that we're choosing if we're not using something that is all natural and or yeah, period. So it's the
Okay.
ingredients in the products.
Well, that's it.
Ingredients
Let's get
matter.
into ingredients.
Yeah, their cuticle is getting eaten up, and this is why the hair is getting dry, is becoming drier.
Okay.
Period. Mhm.
Okay. So I thought personally that the main reason this was happening was something happening with the shampoos. And I mean, they tell us to cleanse our hair, keep cleansing, cleanse as often as possible. And I think maybe the messaging could have gotten lost there where people are like, okay, well, let me just keep using these shampoos. And mind you, in everyone's defense, AG Balance was a shampoo that was heavily pushed. Oh, use that. You could use it every week, every 2 weeks if you need to. But I'm thinking that shampoo was a little too harsh for most of our strands. But let's start with the clarifying shampoo because that was a product that I wasn't very familiar with. And
Mhm.
this is Malibu Sea Undo Good. And I saw someone had a comment and said that they love that shampoo. So I hope you're still in here. Oh, I gotta find it. I gotta find it. Anyways, I hope you're still in here listening to the conversation because we're gonna dive deeply to the ingredient list of Malibu Sea. And
Mhm.
this product, ironically enough, when I was reading the description on the website says that it's a gently removes it's a sulfate free shampoo first of all, but it's gentle. It's going to help, it replaces harsh clarifiers, restore shine, softness, and manageability. So the claims that the companies will say for you to buy the products. But I read on Instagram somewhere that the front is marketing and the back is information.
Get out of my head. That's
Mm.
exactly what I was thinking. That is marketing, honey. If
let's
people don't
let's
know
get
what these
that
ingredients
information.
do, they can tell you that and you believe it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Let's stop reading the front, but let's get into the back. But I'm not
Get
gonna
into
lie.
the back.
Once I start looking at the C14, 16, shoop over my head. I'm opening the bottle, I'm smelling it. If it smells good, I'm buying it.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna let you take it away because I feel like this is your area of expertise, not
Okay.
mine.
All right. So this Malibu Sea Undo Goo is great if you need to like strip the hair down, right? So say you're a person who hasn't clarified your hair, don't clarify it often. And it doesn't really matter if you're using raw oils and butters or products that are formulated with oils and butters and polymers in them, because both of them are going to be sticking to your hair until you properly remove them. So this shampoo is good if you need to like strip down the hair and get everything off. Okay. That's the only time you really want to use that, because it is so good that what it does, that if you use it again when you don't have things that need to be stripped off, it's going to start eating your hair because there's
Mm.
nothing for it to eat. You taking everything away. So now it's eating your cuticles. it's breaking down your hair. And let me tell you why. So we're gonna look at the first ingredient, which is, what is this? Sodium C1416 olein sulfonate.
Hmm.
Let's go ahead into this one. Actually did make the ingredients of concern list in my book. And so, like I said, when I went through the products that I was going to recommend, I just, put the ingredients that I kept seeing over and over and over amongst these brands, some really popular brands. So these are ingredients we would run into a lot. So this is a surfactant. And we all know what surfactants are.
Cleansing agent, if you don't
That's
know.
right. They're just, really strong cleansing agents that are ammonia based. Okay. So I don't know if everyone understands that they're ammonia based, but they're blended with other chemicals to try to basically like neutralize the activity of the ammonia at a certain point in the formulation. But so ammonia is caustic. It eats tissues and cuticles and things like that. So the great concern with this is that um there's a gamma sultone that is found in the sodium alpha olein sulfonates. And what the sultones are, they are toxic, they are carcinogenic, they are mutagenic, and they are teratogenic. They cause irritation to the eyes, lungs, and skin. They are expected to be toxic and harmful to the organ systems of the body. And like I said, they are strong alkali agents that basically eat up your hair, derived from ammonia. Okay, so but they form really
Excuse
good,
me.
huh?
Excuse me.
I'm just saying, but they foam really well, and so they get everything off. And like when you use products that have, silicones and polymers and all these other synthetic ingredients that we need to strip off of our hair,
Mhm.
certain types of hair color. This is something that in the salon we have to bust out to get the hair back down to just, to just square one bare bones. But that's it. This is not something you need to be using on a regular basis. This is not something you need to be using if you're using more natural products than synthetic products. Does that
Mhm.
make sense?
That makes sense. And I'm gonna share a bit of an experience I recently had. So I went to my stylist early January,
Hmm.
and she got me in on the cancellation notice. So I didn't know I was gonna see her until the day before.
Uh,
But 2 days prior, I saw her. 2 days before I saw her, I washed my hair and I use whatever shampoo. You know me. If it smells good, I'm using it.
Using it.
I mean, it turns out I need to start looking at these ingredients. But so I have washed my hair, conditioned it, and didn't do anything much to it. Just used a light butter and put it into some twist. And then the next day, she's like, "I can get you in tomorrow." And I'm like, "Girl, hold my baby. I'm here. I'm there." So I
Uh-huh.
went, and she ended up clarifying my hair with this particular shampoo, which she uses every single time I see her. But I see her like twice a year type thing.
Okay, that's not bad then.
Yeah, so I don't typically clarify very often. But once she used it, I think maybe it's because I had already washed my hair and there wasn't a lot to strip out. My hair was squeaky clean to the point, and I didn't notice right away until she was styling, and
Hmm.
her fingers were just like, you can feel like that squeaky clean feeling going through my strands, and I'm like, something's off. Wait a minute now. You know, now that everybody's on edge with this damage, I was like, my hair might as well just big chop. Please let it go. So I'm talking, and I ended up saying something because I was like, Jen, are you gonna say something? Are you gonna sit here and like not? Because I mean, I feel like she knew it, I knew it. We weren't saying anything at first, but then I ended up saying something. I'm like, well, it feels like my hair is a little more difficult to style this time around. Because when she does it, it's juicy, it's foamy, like the gels are just like, I don't know, sleeping and sliding. It feels really good. So we ended up having a whole conversation around what could have gone wrong, because we've used the same products, we do the same steps every single time, and I think my hair didn't need to be clarified when it was clarified. So I think it was just stripped down a little too much. Definitely too
Hmm.
much for me to feel comfortable with it. So I went home and started just piling products on my hair. Product build up, here we go. Thank you. I'll take that versus my hair feeling like squeaky clean. So all that to say, I think that's this shampoo for me. I find that it's a very strong shampoo.
Yes, and that's what it's designed for. It's salon grade, get everything off, and so that you can strip the hair down and to build it back up. And maybe you want to put a moisturizer shampoo, you want to put your
Mhm.
oils, your butters, your nutritive products, all that stuff. This one I would use in like preparation for color, like if someone, we were going to color the hair, and I've talked with them going through their regimen, and you know understand that they use a lot of synthetic ingredients in their styling regimen. All these things need to come off the hair because some of these things can react with the ingredients in the color. So that is when you use something like this, um, and then you don't use it no more unless you have a bunch of synthetic things that have built up on your hair that you need to remove. There are
Mm.
much more gentle ways of clarifying the hair that don't even have to do that. You don't have to go this route. And so the same with the Cocamide Dippa, the Cocamito propylbentane. These are surfactant. First three.
Ooh.
Oh yeah. And they pretty much all do the same thing. They just like the Cocamito propylbentane, that one just, is softened a little bit with some coconut oil to make it a little less aggressive than the first two. But they all have the same contamination concerns and health concerns as far as the amines being present in the formula, which is a derivative of ammonia. And there's a it's an environmental toxin. It is a known allergen toxic to the body system, the organ systems, all of it. Bioaccumulative just means that, do we know if it accumulates in your tissues or not? This Most of them don't. They're not suspected to be bioaccumulative, but they'll definitely eat up your hair. Um,
Which was sorry, sorry, Shelly. I hate that I had to have it to you, girl, but I didn't even know hair could be like, you know what? There's
like
something
these
Shelly
things,
says a
they're,
lot.
they're huh?
There's something Shelly says a lot that her hair felt like it was chewed up
Yeah,
by rats, but just chewed up. And I feel like that's exactly what happened.
yeah, that's exactly what happened. Which is why, I just don't recommend using products that have synthetics, because majority of them, I'm going to say about 95% of them, will mess up your hair and will mess with your health. And so all those, like I said, those first three, really, really harsh surfactants, derivatives of ammonia, they eat up your hair, and they have connection to organ system toxicity in the body. And like all of this stuff, these ingredients, all of them are in the ebook. Shall we move on to the butylene glycol?
Now I'm scared. I don't know if we should.
So, actually, the butylene glycol isn't that bad.
Okay.
It's a small organic alcohol. It's used as a conditioning agent and a solvent, just to kind of help the oils and the waters and things mix together.
Okay.
It's not toxic to humans or the environment. It's just a mild irritant to human skin. So it's just a mild alcohol. That one's not bad. Um, Polyquartermin 10. Let's see. That one isn't so bad either. It's actually a thickener and a conditioning agent,
Okay.
right?
But the
So
top
that one is
5 ingredients of a product is those are the I guess what is mainly present, right?
absolutely, absolutely. And then that last one, the disodium EDTA, is a chelating agent. And this one, you definitely want in a shampoo that's designed to do what the undo goo does, because those just kind of like attract the metal ions and carry them away out the hair. And so, when you're swimming, if you have hard water, if you're getting some color, like we definitely don't need metal ions and things in the hair to be staying, period. Like they need to go. Um, and disodium EDTA is not suspected to be toxic to humans, to the environment. But the first three ingredients are, and they eat up your hair. And then let's see. So you don't use this shampoo regularly. Like this is
No,
just really
so
just
I
clarifying,
wanna
and that's it.
yeah, this is more of a clarifier, which they suggested, I believe, every 6 to 8 weeks if you're following this method.
Mm,
Mm,
and
would
so, yeah, we could talk about like why that would even be a recommendation. Like that's still too often for me, but it's recommended because there are things in the gel that build up on the hair that need to be stripped away, and we'll get there.
Okay, well, now I wanna move on to the next shampoo now, because I mean, this is already in my mind, I'm like, next. We're we're
Okay.
we're done with this one. I
That was over. Like you done heard enough. We don't need to know how much
um,
worse it is. Well, if you y'all get curious about breaking down all the ingredients, like the major ones, like they're all in the ebook in very simple terms as to like what they do. Fragrance perfume, though, like I really, really want to speak about fragrance, synthetic fragrance, just for, and it's in this one, and it's going to be in mostly all of these products, right?
yeah.
Oh,
I'm like, I feel
fragrance.
like you're gonna break my heart, because you know me, I'm like, I love a good smelling product. Oh, break my heart, Amina. Just go
I
ahead, take it away.
listen, my heart was broken like, a decade or so ago when it came to fragrance or perfume, which is why I lean toward essential oils or just unscented things. But fragrance or perfume, the National Academy of Science points out that 95% of chemicals used in synthetic fragrance are derived from petroleum, which is, crude oil, right? They include these carcinogenic aldehydes and many other known toxic chemicals linked to cancer, birth defects, central nervous system disorders, and allergic reactions. Many are known in suspected endocrine disruptors, which are compounds that tinker with your hormone health and can trigger weight gain and set you up for diseases. Fragrance or perfume is known to contain at least 3,000 unique chemicals. So even product makers that are saying they use phthalate free fragrance are not avoiding the other 2,999 chemicals in the fragrance, right? That's marketing. So then there's just common toxic inclusions that I've detailed, like, in the book to look for when it comes to fragrance or perfume. And so I'm focusing on that because majority of these products you're going to run into fragrance and perfume, and given how harmful it is for your health, like that is the number one thing we need to be trying to avoid. That is the number one thing we need to be making our favorite brands aware of, that hey, if you could just take this out and like maybe use something cleaner, like the product would be, it would actually be healthy for you, would actually
Mhm.
be good for you. Like some of the brands, it was maybe like fragrance and two other things. And I'm like, okay, well, you're bad, but you're not as bad as like seven toxic things. You know what I'm saying? So just keep that in mind whenever you see fragrance or perfume really, really bad for you, in these hair products, the household cleaning products, like you said, the
Mhm.
candles, like the detergents, like we could just
Mhm.
go on.
Well, it's in everything. And we think about
Everything.
a lot of us complain sometimes, okay, my hair is not growing. And when someone says that, for me, immediately I think of what's going on internally, because our hair is
Mhm.
always growing. And you think about, the food, the environment, our homes, the, I don't know, laundry detergent that we use, like all of these things is affecting our bodies. And sometimes that's the reason why we have a lot of issues. We're tired all the time. We're
Yeah.
irritated all the time. Our hair is not growing. We're stressed with, and it's all from our environment.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Whew.
And
Well,
like
yeah,
I
you've
said,
broken
the
our
fragrance,
hearts.
yeah, the fragrance is, petrochemical based, but because there's like over 3,000 chemicals and they don't have to disclose them all to you, who's to
Mhm.
say that there's not some drying alcohols in this fragrance that is also eating up your hair?
Mm.
Who's not to say that? You know what I'm saying? So I just, want to caution y'all to like really swerve synthetic fragrance. If you don't do nothing else, leave it alone because
But it's in everything. How?
it's everything. That one needs to go. It needs to go. I don't work with fragrance, and when I was in the salon, I opted for shampoos that were either unscented or that used essential oils or components of essential oils to fragrance the product. That's it. So we moving on to this AG.
I guess so. Let's move on to the next recommended
This
product. I don't
AG
think
boost
this is AG
the balance.
Balance, but AG
Uh-huh.
Balance is a shampoo.
Yes.
And we had, I don't think a lot of us knew about AG until Black Girl Crawls. AG was one
Okay.
of the brands that was introduced to us, as well as Malibu as well. But I want to say AG was one of the main brands that was pushed.
Hmm.
AG Balance, AG Boost were classified as quality shampoo and conditioners. And I was actually very shocked when I was putting this little slide together because, as you saw in the previous one, I wanted to have a little benefit and then the product picture and then like the ingredient to the side. I couldn't even fit the ingredients list of
Okay.
this shampoo because it's so long. We're
Uh-huh.
gonna be here all day trying to go eating. We might as well just do top 5 at this point because there's so many ingredients. But the benefits, the claim is that it gently cleanse your hair and scalp gently, sealing in the cuticles to enhance shine with apple cider vinegar, argan oil, and an abundance of nourishing superfoods. And this is a 98% plant based and naturally derived shampoo. All that said, this is the ingredient list. Oh, I got to take off my little banner because there's so many. There it is. There's so many ingredients, and it when I one thing that I learned from my personal trainer and slash nutritionist is
Hmm.
he would always say when the product has the least ingredient is likely better, and it's easier for you to read and understand what's in your product. When you have a long, long, long list of things, you should already be a little alarmed. Little bell should be ringing in your head.
Hmm.
So when I see something like this, I feel like I'm a little alarmed. And the fact that they classified this shampoo as a gently cleanse your hair. This is what the brand said. The stylist said that this was an all-purpose shampoo that could be used on the weekly slash bi-weekly basis. But
Hmm.
what does the ingredients say?
The ingredients say that this shampoo actually is pretty mild. It's still really good at removing um, oils, butters, polymers, which are just basically like microplastics. Well, they can be synthetic in the form of like a microplastic, or they can be natural that are basically made out of some sort of like plant-based glucose, right? But it's really good at taking everything off without eating up your hair. So
Mm,
this one is actually good. The worst thing in this one here is way down the ingredient list. It is the propanid propanediol. And it just works as a humectant and a solvent. And let me see, but there are some contamination concerns with it in, just the manufacturing of this particular product. Um, but it's way down the ingredient list, which means it's not a whole lot of it in there. But let me tell you really quickly what propanediol does. So it actually enhances the absorption of other ingredients in the product into your skin or your scalp, right? It is classified as a skin irritant. Cancer, one or more in vitro tests on mammalian cells show positive mutation results, which means propanediol and propylene glycol are associated with cancer. This is also an endocrine disruptor, which wreaks havoc on your home, disrupts the way that your hormones naturally function. It can cause disease in the body. Let's see. It's not expected to be toxic to the other organ systems, and it's not suspected to be building up in your tissues. So, I mean, little cancer association, and it enhances the absorption of other ingredients in a product, propanediol. That's the worst thing in here. Do we want it in here? No. Does it need to be in there? No, but it's not in the top five. And the surfactants that they've chosen are actually really very mild, and do not strip and eat up the hair like the ones in the undo goo.
Okay. Well, I want to take a few questions because I have Shelly here saying that this shampoo is pretty harsh.
It works really
AG,
well.
AG is crazy harsh and clarifying,
Mhm.
is what she says. And in my experience of using AG, I want to say that it is on the harsher side for me. Like it's a deep cleansing shampoo. And I find that my scalp will like it more than my hair will. Because so what I do now is kind of like get it on my scalp and really agitate it on the scalp and then rinse and then use like a moisture shampoo for the rest of everything.
Mhm.
So is can there be a difference when it comes to ingredients and formulation? Because that's another thing that Sheree said here. It's not about the ingredients, about the formulation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so if you find that, like I said, it does a really good job at what it's there to do, but it doesn't eat up your hair. So it's going to take everything off. But the surfactants are not the same as the ones in the undo goo. But if you find that this shampoo is too much for you, please go down to something soap based. Please go down to something even sulfate free. Well, this one is sulfate free, but they just choose to use several actual mild surfactants. So there's one, two, three in the top five ingredients of the AG, and then the hydroxypropyl methacellulose, which is just a thickener and a stabilizer, um, film forming agent, all that good stuff. So there's nothing wrong with saying, hey, like this shampoo is still too much for me. Like I like something that, doesn't strip everything away. Something that even has maybe more oils or more humectants higher up to balance out the effectiveness of the cleansing agents. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. And it's
So,
probably also in relate like the shampoo that you use is likely determined by what you're using after. So say whatever you're using for your stylers, if you're using thicker products with maybe heavier on oils and butters, perhaps you'll do a little bit better with using something like this that's going to cleanse your hair nicely, remove the oils and the butters without affecting your actual strands versus
mhm.
you are using something lighter, like I don't know, like a water soluble styler, then you may not need something this deep, right?
Yeah, because there's less oil to cut through and break down. It's just mostly water, and whatever polymers or what have you, whatever all else is left in the product. I'll say that, but it's not um, as much lipids and oils or fats to cut through. So yeah, um, and this with something like this, you definitely want to be using very emollient stylers. So you definitely want some fats, some oil, some butter in your styling product if you're going to be using a shampoo that cleans this well, because again, it's very good at what it doesn't leave um, the little oil lipid layers behind like a more gentle sulfate free would. I'll say that. So those are gone, but your hair is not getting eaten up when you use the AG balance. And so if you're moving from the AG balance to something that doesn't contain, I'm just going to call the good hair food, the oils, the fats, it doesn't contain the hair food and the natural film formers, and then you're just putting something, humectant and holding on there, it's not enough fortification for the hair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions about AG balance? We have a lot. We don't like AG balance collectively. That's what I'm seeing in the comments.
And that's okay.
Um, yeah,
But
well, it seems like it's more on the harsher side. And I think perhaps in this regiment where you are using, say, just a shampoo, conditioner, and going straight into your stylers, you're not using anything heavy. I
Mm.
feel like AG balance may not be well placed if you're not using the superfoods. Because a lot of the
Mhm.
products that we're gonna see a lot of the ingredients. There's not a lot of oils in this regimen at
Mm.
all. There's
And there needs to be.
say that again. Sorry.
There needs to be.
Say that one more time for the people in the
There needs to be.
okay. So let's see. Last seconds for some questions regarding AG balance, and then we're gonna move on. But I mean, if you guys have questions at any point within this live stream, just leave them into the comment section, and then we're gonna do a nice little Q&A at the end as well, and like bring all the questions in. So, well, that's that for AG balance. We might as well just go into AG boost, which is a conditioner. Now, this conditioner is the benefits from the brand is that it condition and smooth your cuticles while sealing in moisture. It has mango seed butter, apple cider vinegar, and an abundance of nourishing superfoods. Again, it's 98% plant based, naturally derived conditioner. You go ahead and massage it into your hair, leave it for a minute or two, and you're good to go. Now, this is marketing. Well, let's go into information. And again, we have a long, long list. So let's get into it. Oh, we also don't like AG booze. Oh. And you know what? Maybe I'm gonna start. I actually don't mind AG booze. I may be in the minorities, but I don't mind AG booze. I like how when you add water to it, it foams right up. I feel like it's really I don't want to say nourishing, but it does condition my hair, especially coming from like a harsher shampoo. I find
Hmm.
that AG Boost gives me what I want. But
Yeah.
let's go into the ingredients.
Yeah, I actually don't mind it either. But I do like something a little bit more thick, like mask, like you know what I'm saying? But it's effective. It's actually effective conditioning. So like the first and so I feel like people with, coily hair, coily kinky, or what they call tight curls, honey, we like a thicker thing in general, right?
Mhm.
But the first ingredient for this AG boost, apple cider vinegar, and I do have to laugh at this apple how they're toting this apple cider vinegar in these
Yeah.
products, and it's like 53rd in the ingredient list.
I think that's a marketing thing. You know
It's
how we use apple cider
marketing.
vinegar to wash our hair and clarify and da 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 da. And I feel like they're putting in these terms that we use to
Yeah,
like reel us in, but it's like the tiniest drop of apple cider
exactly.
vinegar.
So anyway, the first ingredient is this capric triglyceride, and so it's basically just chemically synthesized coconut oil. And coconut it so basically what they're done is they use a chemical solvent to go in and isolate the parts of the coconut oil that make it most beneficial for the strand without the part that imparts the greasiness. Does that make sense? So
Okay.
that's all they're doing is they're denaturing some coconut oil or some palm oil to deliver the benefits without the greasiness.
That's so
And
interesting that you said that because one of the big messaging at the very beginning of this method is coconut oil and shea butter were the devil. Do
lie.
not, do not use the lies, the lies. Where is African hair guy with his little thing?
This is lies.
They were like, no,
Now,
drop coconut oil, drop shea butter.
uh,
Second ingredient here in this conditioner,
that's
you
the first one. Oh no,
well,
it's the second one. You're right, because the
I
water is
guess
the first. My bad. It's
we
the
don't
second
count
one. You're
water,
right.
but
Hmm.
top ingredient.
I
It's
just be seeing
coconut
like the
oil is
water's
what you're
not even
telling
there.
me.
No, it's a lie. And let me say this is a preference, right? Because the one thing that coconut oil does that a lot of other oils don't do is it will solidify on you at temperatures below 76 degrees Fahrenheit. And so, that's going to change, how your hair feels and behaves, right? And so coconut oil is always best if you're going to use it, blend it with other oils that prevent it from solidifying on you. So you don't feel like the extra greasiness and the the rigidness of the hair. Okay, if you're using it in its whole form. So all they've done, but coconut oil has really good benefits for the hair. one of the main ones being that it actually is small enough to go into, the cortex layer of the hair and help strengthen and reinforce, kind of where our sebum likes to live, when it comes, through the inside of the strand. So it can do that all on its own. Coconut oil is raw form. So all they've done, but then you get the greasiness if you're using it raw, right? Because you're getting all the fats and all the stuff that comprise it as a whole form. All that capric triglyceride is just isolated. They just isolated parts of the coconut oil so that it can still penetrate the skin and the hair, help retain moisture without the greasiness. And that conditioner is mostly that.
The
Okay.
lies, the lies.
I mean, so if unless you have a coconut oil allergy, there's really no reason not to use it. It's really, really great stuff. And like I say, if you're going to use it in its raw form, just blend it with another oil that keeps it from solidifying when it gets cold, and you're good. The next one, cetyl alcohol, is just used to help soften the hair and to thicken and stabilize cosmetic products. It is a pretty neutral product. I mean, neutral in terms of like, it's not really harmful to our health. It is an environmental toxin though. So it's not harmful to us, but it's harmful to the environment. But it's there to like emulsify, thicken, and stabilize the product. So because that triglyceride needs to be stretched, don't it? So this is what the alcohol is there to do.
Okay. There's
Now,
also glycerin in here. I see.
but this third alcohol though, um, it performs a similar way than the first alcohol. I'm sorry, this is the fourth ingredient. So the cetyl alcohol,
Mhm.
it binds the ingredient together, has some emollient functions, but it's also suspected to be an environmental and human organ toxin. Okay. So, we're taking some toxins in through our scalp, through our, hands. Our skin is the largest organ on our body. It's absorbent when we're using these things. And yeah, there's glycerin here somewhere. It's down here somewhere.
Yeah, it's the third ingredient is glycerin,
Hey, did I miss that? Okay, I have cetyl alcohol.
and then glycerin.
Okay, so the glycerin, maybe you didn't copy over on my ingredient list, but glycerin is good. I mean, glycerin can be vegetable or animal based, but it's generally used as a humectant and like a gelling and um, stabilizer. It has very, very, very mild preservative properties, glycerin, but in general, glycerin is a good thing to have. It, like I said, humectant function primarily, and doesn't have any high toxicant indications
Okay.
whatsoever. Okay. Um, so like I said, this benhentromonium chloride,
Mm-hmm.
this one is very dangerous. And the stercolonium chloride also. These
Okay.
are very dangerous. And they're within the first 10 ingredients, seven, I think they're like seven or something down there, but let me give you a little bit about this benhentromonium chloride. All right, so there's strong evidence of it being a human toxicant and allergen. It is toxic to the organ systems of the body. It is shown to have developmental and reproductive toxicity at moderate doses. It is known to be a neurotoxin. Do we know what neurotoxicity is?
It's messing with our mind.
Pretty much, yes. So, neurotoxicity happens when exposure to toxic substances affect the normal activity of your nervous system. So it's known to be a neurotoxin. It's also known to be an endocrine disruptor again, which a lot of the synthetic fragrance is, and so we know what that is. It is not suspected to be bioaccumulative, meaning it's not suspected to build up in the tissues. But it is an environmental toxin. So this is really, really nasty stuff. And why is this in our conditioner? Why is it here?
That's
Let
I
me
mean, you tell me, girl, because I'm just like,
it It's in our conditioner because we live in a country that likes to war, and it has a lot of petrochemical based products left over from these activities that it needs to repurpose and continue to make money on. And so they make their way into our hair products, they make their way into our body products, they make their way into some of these processed food products. um, and the standard in the US for a lot of what we can eat and consume, and put on our skin is much, much lower than a lot of countries, which basically means that they are okay with the general population being poisoned and sickened by, just common everyday products. Like it's allowed in our products, where a lot of other countries don't even allow these things. And so we have to be uh, educated and vigilant consumers who place a high value on our health. Otherwise, you're going to be running into things like this where they have all these, harmful things at the top, and then they want to sprinkle you with all these wonderful natural things at the bottom, like
Mhm.
all the rosemary, all these wonderful and essential oils, and things like that, all at the bottom. But the harmful stuff is what the product is composed of mostly. And we have to really be careful. What we really want is, I was going to say the reverse, but not even the reverse. We just want the good stuff with a safe preservative if it's necessary. And that's it. That's really what we want.
I don't know if we'll ever get there though. I mean, the way a lot of us love, say, fragrance in our products, all the TikTok girlies are just spraying things on them every single day. I
Mhm.
like the way we're set up as a society. I don't know if we're heading in that directions at all.
I think some of us are and some of us aren't. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
I think those that place a really high value on our health and understand that, majority of this disease, and these issues that we're having is preventable, like we're going the opposite way. And the ones of us that just either are unaware or just like, oh, well, I'm gonna die of something anyway, like, just don't care, then they're gonna keep on with the toxic stuff, and find themselves with a reduced quality of life and on a whole bunch of medication.
Mm.
It's choices.
Now that's the thing, because I think a lot of us want to ignore these things and say, well, I doubt that my hair care products is killing me. My body care products is just fine. Like I've been using it since the beginning of times. I'm fine.
Hmm.
I feel like we've convinced ourselves of these things, but at the same time, a lot of us have like health issues, medical issues. We're depending on a lot of pills to just function, when I don't think it should be that way. And we kind of wonder what's the root cause. And maybe
Hmm.
it's not one thing, it's a combination of things that we're using.
Absolutely, because if you pile on the toxins in your personal care products and then add them to the toxins in your household cleaning products, and then you add them to the toxins in the food that you're eating, mind you, and then just the toxins in the general environment, like where it's an onslaught. And so the best thing that any of us can do is to eliminate the toxins in our diet, because what you feed your body, gives your body the best capability to detox itself and regenerate itself. And so if you're feeding your body a bunch of things that are poisonous and toxic and don't allow it to function optimally, and then you're just piling on a bunch of other toxins, how fast do you think you're going to develop disease?
Mm,
Much quicker than someone who is, living um, organic, reduced or no toxin, diet lifestyle, but maybe they still have these environmental toxins. At least you've, greatly eliminated one major source of toxins that enable your body to either create health or disease, which is the food.
mhm. At least you're giving your body a fair chance at fighting all of
Hey,
the
hey.
toxicity in our world.
Mhm.
All right, well, let's keep on going. Now we have botanical gels. Oh, This is the best category because that's the argument on the internet. Well, it's a botanical gel,
Mhm.
a humectant based gel. Now, this gel by Uncle Funky's daughter, Curly Magic. Their benefit is that it's going to well, it's an aloe based gel, first of all. It claims that it's a firm hold gel. That has not been the case in my experience, and I've used this gel for over a year. It's definitely not a firm hold for my hair, but hey, I what do I know? Um, Curls are becoming more defined and manageable and nourished with this product. It's supposed to elongate your curls, adding moisture, all in one powerful product. And ironically enough, in the company's website, it says for best result to squeaky deep clean your hair, use their moisturizing conditioner, and this is the part that I wanted to highlight. Use super coral or extra butter, which is, I guess, technically a leave-in or layer before this gel. Now, the way that this gel was introduced to us is condition, and you go straight into this botanical humectant-based gel because that's
Mhm.
what's going to keep the moisture into your strands and keep it
Mhm.
nice and juicy until you wash it again. Now, there's been some controversy around Uncle Funky's because when we first started using this product, they had a first list of an ingredient, and then the ingredients seemingly changed us.
Let me
So
see.
there is a different list of ingredient going around, and when a lot of people question the company, asking, "Did the formula change?" Because there wasn't a statement or anything that came out. It was just a new ingredient that we were seeing on the packaging. It was like, wait a minute, that's changed. There's protein in this now. What the company ended up saying is that the formulation never changed. They're just updating the packaging to actually reflect what's in the product. Which I don't know what is more alarming. The fact that perhaps the ingredient list was incorrect, even though the product itself never changed. However, a lot of people that's been using this product notice that there's a difference in performance. It's not performing the same way. Some things
Mhm.
you're telling us this the same product, but our hair is saying something else. So I wanted to highlight both lists. I think the one that originally I sent to you though is the new updated ingredient list. So we can go ahead and tackle the first part,
Mhm.
and you can let us know what the ingredients are saying.
Okay. So overall, I don't hate this gel, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a 3.
You might as well say you hated that. What's going on here?
Can't be in the highest. So proteins in a styling product is not necessary. Protein, and hear me out on this. Like the hydrolyzed wheat protein, the good thing about it is that the hair is going to pick up what it needs and release the rest because of the way that the hydrolyzed protein is created. However, it is wholly unnecessary in a styling product. Like you just don't need to be putting this protein on your hair every time you style your hair unless your hair needs significant patching and strengthening and reinforcing. And most of us who don't have color, who don't have damage, and don't have fine strands that break down really rapidly, do not need this. Like the proteins are better served in our treatments, our masks, our conditioners that are there to fortify. So I don't like to see proteins in styling products because it's just way too much. However, um, this particular type of protein would not cause as much stiffness and moisture absorption blockage as a different type of protein. So I don't wish this wasn't there. So that's one reason why I don't like it. Um, this phenyloxyethanol. I mean, the other things are good. Like, okay, we got the water, we got the
Mhm,
glycerin, we got the aloe vera juice. This is good. We got some jojoba seed oil. Jojoba is nice. It's light. It's very, very light. It's one of the closest molecularly that they say mimics, human sebum.
mhm,
So that's good. Hydrolyzed wheat protein in a styler, throw it away. Um, but this phenyl oxyethanol,
mhm.
it's a preservative. Let me see what the book says about it though, because I have some notes here on phenoxyethanol. Okay. So phenoxyethanol is, like we said, it's a preservative. So it's there to inhibit bacterial growth, but it is classified as an irritant to the eyes, lungs, and skin. It is classified as toxic to our organ systems, non-reproductive. Um, there is some evidence of immune system toxicity in high allergen reactivity. It is also toxic to the environment. Phenoxyethanol. Okay.
Every product at this point is destroying the planet and as well as ourselves.
I'm telling you, this country, I've lived in another country. And, this country leaves a lot to be desired when it comes to prioritizing what is best for the health of its citizens and best for the health of the planet. But when you have the medical system set up the way it is, where it thrives in treating disease instead of healing and curing disease, then you have to wonder
Mhm.
if it's not, these things are not allowed to intentionally keep people sick so they can stay caught up in the medical system getting treated for things that they will never cure. So just think about that. And then the ethylhexylglycerin is pretty similar to the phenoxyethanol in terms of what it does. It's a preservative and a skin conditioning agent. It is classified as an irritant to the eyes, lungs, and skin. Um, let's see, organ system toxicity, yes. And allergies and immunotoxicity, yes. And wildlife and environmental toxicity, yes. And then we've already talked about the fragrance and how
Yeah.
horrible that is.
Yeah. And then you wonder, why is it even there? It's like tagged at the very end. Because I mean, when I look at these ingredients, like you said, seemingly they look pretty good. I don't see what's in here that would give you a firm hold. Maybe you can let me know. Um, and then fragrance, just randomly.
Yeah, no, there actually isn't anything in here that will give you a firm hold. So there, the aloe vera juice reacting with the glycerin, um,
Mm.
and marshmallow root gives it a little weight also. But and the marshmallow root has a little starchiness component to it, so it can form a very. It doesn't even form like a cast, like like
Yeah,
a gel that holds more, but it'll get you close enough to call it a gel.
yeah,
So, yeah.
that makes sense when you describe
Mhm.
it that way. All right, well, that's curly magic.
So yeah, so I mean, if they took those three things out and like the old ingredient list was actually better than this
Mhm.
new one, with the exception of the fragrance. Like a potassium sorbate is not is not that bad. Um,
I
citric
really don't
acid is not
understand
bad at all. Agave is not bad.
it.
But this natural fragrance, I don't know what that is because fragrance is synthetic. So either it's essential. I mean, they need to explain that, but the old ingredients was actually much better
Mhm.
than the current ones for this Uncle Funky's.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what it is behind the ingredient list update or formula change.
Cost,
But a lot of us noticed a difference. Like I felt
cost.
like my hair was much more hydrated with the old formulation. Well,
Mhm,
when I first bought this, I got a big bottle because I was like, oh,
mhm.
this is gonna be my new lifestyle. And that bottle, every time I use it in my hair, definitely felt more moisturized throughout the week versus this one, it doesn't last. And I don't know if it's a protein in it or whatnot, but my hair will dry out much faster. Or maybe it's just what it is over time with this ingredient. I don't know. All right. Well, now we're moving up to topper gel. So when at the beginning we described the way this method will go, and it's about layering gels, layering products to get your desired results.
Mm,
And I think the goal of this regimen is to get you to be able to do a wash and go and preserve that wash and go for a week, for 4 to 5 days.
Mhm.
That's kind of like the messaging. I'm not gonna say that's what was said, but it's all about how can I get longevity out of my wash and go. Then you'll get the base gel in, which is what's going to moisturize your hair, and then you're gonna follow up with these toppers that's going to create a cast, really hold your style in place for 4 to 5, 6, 7 days until you wash again. So
Mhm.
introducing Innocence. Innocence was also one of those companies that I wasn't familiar with until this method. And they have a lot of different gels. They have a lot of different products that made it on the recommended list. There are shampoos, conditioners, as well as gels. And this particular one is very popular because it gives you a firm hold. It is said to be aloe and honey based, increased shine, flexibility, and strength with eucalyptus. So it says. We will see what the ingredients says though. And there it is. I guess aloe is the second ingredient, so maybe it is
Oh,
aloe base.
right. So we got water, we have aloe vera gel, we have hydroxyethylcellulose, which is just a thickener and gelling agent. Cellulose is mainly made from like the cell walls of plants. So it's a sugar, a plant sugar.
Okay.
Maltodextrin, copolymer. That one's more starch based. Think potatoes and corn, and it creates a holding cast. No concerns with that. Potassium hydroxide. Do we know what potassium hydroxide is?
It just sounds like some chemicals that shouldn't be in here.
Do we know what sodium hydroxide is?
Oh yeah, we do.
Oh, what is it?
Don't put me on the spot like that.
So sodium
It's in the back of my head from my chemistry degree.
hydroxide. So sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide are just variations of lye.
Oh yeah, it's
Lye,
relaxers, isn't it?
ma'am, ma'am, ma'am. Okay, so these hydroxides and ammonium hydroxide also, but they are the main agent that relaxes hair. Okay, they're lye. Okay, so in soap making in certain formulations, using these hydroxides is cosmetic chemically okay because the hydroxide is evaporated out of is evaporated out of the final formula, when soap making. This is what they tell us. And
Mhm.
but when you use certain soaps, right? Like black soaps, Castile soaps versus these regular bar soaps, you feel a difference in how they are on your skin, right?
Mhm.
So, but this potassium hydroxide, this lye in a styling product that is going to be sitting on your hair for days at a time, not being rinsed off after it's done it's breaking down work like the relaxer, not being rinsed off after it's cleansed the dirt and oil from your skin like a soap or even a shampoo. This is a gel with potassium hydroxide in the one, two, three, four, five
Mm.
ingredient. So I don't know if you remember in my video when I said there's products out there that they're calling themselves natural and they have these ingredients in there and they are breaking down the cuticle and they are scarring up your scalp and they are damaging your hair and they're doing horrible things to your health.
This is one of them.
Hey, in a styling product, like I said, I'd rather not see it in a shampoo or a soap, but the chemical reaction dictates such that the chemistry, depending on what other things are in it, that the hydroxides are dispersed. There's none left behind in the final product. I don't see any such chemicals to provide that reaction in this ingredient list. Not to mention all the other products that use it. It is a pH adjuster. It's definitely a pH adjuster, but so is citric acid that comes from, you know, citrus, so from oranges, from lemons, and it can be made synthetically too. So it is definitely a pH adjuster, but it's also the reason why some of our hair is getting eaten up in addition to some of that shampoo. This is
Mm.
in your hair. This is not being rinsed away for days. And then we're doing it over and over and over and over again. So remember when all that stuff was going on with starts with the D, ends with the curl.
Yeah.
Okay. There was an ingredient change, and one of them was one of their preservatives that becomes unstable at certain temperatures on the shelf. And so when it becomes unstable, what it starts to do is release um, ammoniated gas into the product. And do you know what ammoniated gas does to your hair? The same thing that the surfactants in that shampoo do, because it's ammonia. It's ammonia. They're ammonia based. It start eating up your hair. It's eating up your scalp. It's drying it out. So I don't like this. I don't like potassium hydroxide in a styling product. Like I said, I don't like to see it anywhere. But I definitely don't like lye in a styling product.
Mm.
Uh it's gonna eat up your hair and might make your curls feel looser before it eats it up though. So I don't know if maybe that's what they was going for. But that is not a good thing in a styling product. And that's in the first five ingredients.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. I don't even know what to say about this one.
And if that wasn't bad enough, it is expected to be toxic and harmful to the organs of the body system. It is a skin, eye, and lung irritant. Obviously, it is toxic to the wildlife and environment. Um, but it's not suspected to be bioaccumulative, which I find interesting because a lot of relaxer lawsuits are flying around right now. So I don't even understand how they're saying it's not bioaccumulative, where all these folks are out here having all these issues. uh,
Hmm.
this stuff has to accumulate in your tissue somewhere in order for it to form these issues of the
Yeah.
womb and the body. Hmm.
Mhm. And I mean, there's a lot of, if you think about Black women in general, a lot of us that used to relax our hair are dealing with a lot of fibroids, a lot
Yeah,
of issues with our reproductive system. And you kind of wonder, where is it coming from? Is it linked? Where is it linked? What happened? How long did you have to use it for you to run into these issues?
right.
And I think they will tell you anything to make it sound like it's fine. For example, I have ABC is me with a comment saying that she quickly looked into this, and potassium hydroxide in beauty products is recognized to be harmless in low concentrations. However, it can be an irritant in high concentration depending on the formulation. But I mean,
Yeah.
if you're looking at this formulation, it's high up the list. So
Hello. That was where I'm going. Do you think fifth in the ingredient list is a low concentration? I don't. Like I said, I don't wish to see it there, period.
yeah,
And not in a styling product.
yeah,
This thing is not being rinsed away immediately.
no
So,
kidding. And it's like
mm,
being worked into the hair, like with to set the hair into the wash and go. It's a lot of raking
hey.
and finger detangling and all of that that's happening. So
Hmm.
well, that's very interesting when it comes to this gel. And I think a lot of people don't like this one. They say that it's too, drying, or the cask is too hard. There's like different reasons why a lot of people don't like this one, but it's a very popular and recommended one, and one that is being used at salons. A lot of the new stylists, or I guess I should maybe say curl specialists, as they call themselves, they definitely use these products. Like if
Hmm.
you go to them, you're gonna get your hair clarified, you're gonna get a moisture poo, you're gonna get your hair conditioned, likely by the products that we just discussed, and then you're gonna go straight into Uncle Funky and I Create Hold. I feel like that's the recipe. Like unless you have like some sort of reaction, or you don't like these products, I feel like that's the main products that are being pushed and used now with this conversations that's happening now, seeing how women are coming out with split ends and damage. I mean, we're not even talking about our health, we're just talking about the
The
hair.
hair. Yeah.
I think there's some messaging change where they are starting to say, well, maybe you can use a deep conditioner if you need. And there's also products updated and changes that are happening, because I think a lot of women, at least, well, I don't want to say a lot, but there's enough women that would reach out to me and say that they did not like these ingredients.
Mhm.
or these products.
Yeah, and if you read the comments, because that's where I live, like on people's posts and YouTube videos and stuff,
Mhm.
like I like to read the comments because I really like to see what people are experiencing, you know?
Mhm.
They tell you, like, and your hair best. So if your hair, something's happened, your hair is changing, trust that. It's not changing for the better. Like, okay, something's happening here. I don't know what, but my hair doesn't like it. My scalp don't like it, my skin don't like it. And general rule though, the higher the inclusion of synthetics, because majority of them are bad, there is very few, I would venture to say maybe like 5 to 10% of synthetics are like neutral. The rest of them, bad.
Mm.
They
Okay,
are
so
bad.
I saw a lot of people go in the comments too talking about just because something is natural doesn't mean that
Mhm.
it's good for you. There are some people that are allergic to, say, essential oils or
Right.
some natural ingredients. So it's possible that you may have some issues with a natural product. But
Correct. But an allergy, right? Like an allergy that, isn't to the anaphylaxis stage is very different than something that's going to eat up your hair, eat up your skin, cause you, organ system toxicity and things of that nature. So just because it's natural doesn't, guarantee its safety, but you will be spared from those things. You may have an allergy to it. Some people can't do citrus, some people can't do mushrooms.
mm,
Um, and anaphylaxis is a serious thing. Like you could stop breathing and die. That doesn't make it safe if you're allergic. But there are limits to the types of reactions when you start getting into these synthetic things. And they're plentiful because they're cheap to work with. And the country that we live in has all these leftover war chemicals and things that they need to continue to make money on. And a lot of these very same things are in these pharmaceuticals.
and I mean, it's important to know these products are not cheap.
I know they're
None,
not.
none of them are. Like,
So when you're using these cheap, toxic, ingredients to make your product, and you set it at a nice price point, you got you a nice little profit margin going there.
yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I was
You
just
know,
about
in
to
the
say
business,
that.
in
Like,
the
I
business to
remember
make
when we
money.
first started this method, a lot of us, our concerns, because we were coming from buying, I don't know, $10, $15 products, which we felt was expensive then. And now we're looking at $30 a bottle, 35. Like Uncle Funky, the big bottle cost me $64. Like, that's a lot of money. And come to hear the form ingredient confusion, company don't know what's in it, I don't know what's in it. Like, for $64 it better be clear.
If they would have left that formula the old way and then made some, like, what is this natural fragrance? Like, is it natural or is it fragrance? Because it can't be both. Which one is it? That wonderful formulation. What they just did, bad for your health and
Mm,
unnecessary protein in the styling product. Why?
mm, mm, mm.
Mm-mm.
Well, let's go into another expensive product. This is this one is so expensive I couldn't even get my hands on it. And I'm a product junkie. I was like, oh, Chepador, I'm gonna find you. But no, they
Mhm.
are in the UK. Getting these products out here would have cost me an arm and a leg. Shipping it would have cost me an arm and a leg. And I really wanted to get my hands on it, but I did not.
Mhm.
It's this one is meant to, this is the third layer now that we're moving into.
Oh
And you
my.
don't need to use this one, but depending on your climate and humidity level, this is one of the gels that would be recommended to, again, stretch your wash and go so the humidity doesn't get to it. It's a vegan, it says flexible hold. It will tame your frizz and define your curls. These key words that we like to hear
Yeah.
when it comes to definition.
Mhm.
Um, Let's see what the ingredients have to say though when it comes to this one. Like I said, they're a very expensive
Mhm.
brand.
So this one is mostly water and glycerin, which is that's fine. Then we have this acrylates copolymer. So this is a microplastic based thickening and smoothing agent. It is an environmental toxin. And let me see, there's some contamination concerns that I didn't get a chance to really look into what these things that they're concerned about contamination wise. But microplastic, uh, copolymer. It's just polymers coat the hair. Microplastics are definitely going to need removing with some sort of aggressive stripping type shampoo because it's a microplastic. It's not a natural oil, or this is something that needs something synthetic to strip it away. So, but these contamination concerns, I didn't get a chance to like look all the way into what exactly
And
the
it's fine,
code.
girl. We forgive you. I mean, this was this was like a final exam type homework we gave you in a couple of days.
But look though, the while I'm looking at this, why do we it's y'all don't need 3 gels.
Mm.
You don't even need 2. Which you just don't, because there's humectants in all of them. So like, why do we have to like layer and layer and layer all these gels? You just need one that does what it's supposed to do. And before you put the gel on, you need to put your hair food on. And your hair food is going to come in the form of a nice leave-in or butter or oil or a styling product that is highly natural, that feeds the hair the good things that it needs to maintain moisture and fortify the cuticle and the cortex layer depending on the properties of the oils. Like, you don't want to be skipping this leave-in, this styler, these raw oils or butter, take your pick, before you start putting the gel on. You don't want to be doing that, because again, these things feed your hair the stuff that it needs to continue to stay in good condition. But they also protect it from the environment. It also lubricates the strands. It also gives these toxic things something to bind to that is not directly your hair. Like, that I don't understand
Okay, well,
why.
maybe we can have that conversation. How
I
can
don't understand why it was recommended to take these things completely out of the regimen. Like I said, in whatever form you choose to do it, whether it's a product that has them high up in the list, or just the raw oil or the raw butter. Like, I don't understand. That was not a good idea to
well, I
do.
want to say, I want to argue. Well, the argument all over Twitter is oil and water don't mix, is the fact that oils are not doing what we think they're doing. We're putting them, piling them on our hair, but these
Mhm.
are essentially blocking our hair from accepting moisture from the environment, etc. So over time, oils are drying out our hair. That was the first argument. And the second thing, which I think a lot of us kind of realize over the years, is the fact that for the best wash and go, for your hair to curl up as much as it possibly can, you would want to not use the oils, not use a lot of products, basically really strip the hair, shampoo it really well, condition it well, and then go into these stylers that's going to capture and hold the curl that you see at the bowl.
Mhm.
So ultimately, that's the recipe. So the more you're adding using these oils, now you're not going to get your best curl. They are ultimately going to dry out your hair because your hair is not going to be able to get moisture from the environment, and you're not going to get your best wash and go. And you also want to stretch that wash and go, which is why we're layering all these products so that it lasts 4 or 5 days. And I say this because I think the wash and go lifestyle can work when you think of the Anthony. I don't know if you're familiar with Anthony Dickey.
Yes,
He
that is work. Mhm.
So I mean, he advocates for the wash and go, but he's like,
Yeah.
get water in your hair daily, get things in your hair daily. And so many women have used his method and they're raving about it. My hair had never felt the same. But the issue I think with that is now you're doing your hair daily. And and I think a lot of people don't like, ooh, I want to do it, but
Mhm.
even
But not every day.
but
Yeah.
not every day. So I
Yeah.
started doing it and I was like, oh my God, every day I have a baby. Jen, please, like, let's get our lives together. And I think they've taken that method and tried to, how can we capture that wash and go lifestyle and get it to last as long as possible. So now we're layering all of these products. But I
Mhm.
still believe that there is something there, the way the regiment potentially can work for our hair. And that's a conversation that I really want to have, is how can we make this work in your professional opinion? You're looking at this shampoo step, we're already determined, wonky wonka, maybe that's a little too stripping.
Mm-hmm.
A conditioning step, I mean, I think you like AG balance, AG boost. You're like, oh, just certain ingredients we could take out, but ultimately shampoo conditioning is okay. Perhaps maybe we want to deep condition once in a while.
Hey,
And then now we're looking at the styling step,
yeah.
where you don't even understand these stylers, but how can we make that work in terms of doing a wash and go, quickly styling our hair and going about our business? How can we keep the simplicity but yet not damage our hair?
So you need a shampoo that doesn't strip you down. On a, you need a shampoo that's nutritive and moisturizing, except for when you need to clarify your hair, which, depending on what you use, maybe every 1 to 3 months you need to clarify your hair, depending on what you're using. If you're using things that have, microplastics, polymers, things that are coating, and you're noticing your products aren't performing the same, because that's one thing I would hear a lot is, oh, well, these products used to work for me and they don't work anymore. You probably need to clarify your hair. Unless the ingredients change, it's just, the sulfate free shampoo is allowing, little oil lipid layers and things to be left behind. So there's, gradually build up on the hair. And so this is where clarifying shampoos come in. Um, but find you a good nutritive shampoo, a good regular conditioner, a good rinse out conditioner. Your styler that you're leaving in, it needs to have the oil and the butter. Are we not putting these oils and butters on wet hair? Are we doing wash and go on dry hair?
No, like
Do, do
soaking
the
wet
oil and do it need to mix? It just needs to be on there. It needs to coat it.
hair. It
You,
all need to mix. That's a
you don't
very
need it.
interesting
When
take.
you want them to, if they need to mix in a product that you're, emulsifying, like you want them to be in there together. And this is where our creams come from. Okay. You put an emulsifier so that um, the waters and the oils can bind together and they can mix, and whatever little other thickeners and things they put in there.
Mhm.
Then they mix. But your hair is wet. You got the water is there. Put the oil on there. Put the cream with the oils, the butters in there. Put the leave-in with the oils. You follow me? Put it on the wet hair. The hair is got the water. Then you put your gel on. That's what we need to be doing. When you take the oil, you take the food away, you take the hair food away. Not only are you taking away the the things that are feeding and protecting the hair, which is what's most important, um, and you're now putting these other ingredients on top of your hair that don't do that. So it's gonna the moisture is going to escape faster. You're
Mhm.
gonna have reduced UV, environmental protection. Um, you're not giving the hair the ingredients in these oils and butters and fats that feed the hair, increase the lipid barrier, allow it to regenerate itself, depending on the properties of the oil. Because oils and fats, butters, they can do some amazing things depending on which ones we're talking about. So you just don't ever want to remove them. Then you put your holding product on top. Like, and I like to make it really simple for people. When you go and get your manicure, you get your cut, you put your color, and then you put the top coat.
The top coat.
Your leave-in styler, whether it's a raw oil or butter or a formulated oil or butter, because leave-in stylers, look at the ingredients. They can be the same thing. That's your color. Your holding product is your top coat. You want the holding product unless you want to have to, um, you don't want the most definition. You want to have to be redoing the wash and go, every few days or however. Like the holding product is good so long as the ingredients are not harmful. They're not eating up your hair, and they're not
The way you said that.
eating up your hair. Um, Toxic to your health. And of course, people are going to choose their products based on their own health standards, right? Like there's some of us out here and we don't mind a little processed food, right? We don't mind a little processed products. Um, we're okay with that level of risk and exposure. And then there's some of us that are not. And we're going to say, yeah, okay, I want to do this wash and go, or, I want to, style my hair this way, but I want to make sure I am doing it in a way that does not compromise the condition of my hair and does not compromise um, my overall health. And those are the people that are going to be more ingredient conscientious.
So there's basically a range when it comes to how you're going to choose your products.
Depending on your health standards, absolutely, and your knowledge, right? And I feel because if you have high health standards, you're reading ingredients.
Yeah.
There's no way you're not. You
Yeah.
might forget
No.
sometimes, but overall, you're like, hold on, what's this? What's
What's
this?
in it? What's in it?
What
For
is
sure.
in this? And then, okay, I don't even know what this do. Let me go look it
Let
up.
me go look it up.
Oh, this is. Oh no, absolutely not. Or
Yeah.
okay, I'm okay with a little, processed, whatever not.
Mhm.
Sometimes, like even
I
people
think
with black.
our budget also determine which product that we're gonna go for. But sometimes I like to argue that, like, fight back a little bit, because as much as we're like, oh, that's too expensive, I'm not gonna spend that. But we'll spend triple that amount on like some designer goods, or we'll, I don't know, we're eating out every weekend. That's a lot. That's
Mhm.
expensive. We're sitting in this stylish chair. That's expensive. That's like 250, 300 a haircut. We can afford
Mhm.
that, but we don't want to get the product, like proper products that's good for our health. So I just
Yeah.
want to take this question in real quickly, from Sheree. So the products are, I guess she's asking, is it the products that's damaging people's hair, or is it the technique and method itself, like this lifestyle of washing, conditioning, and styling mainly into wash and go?
It's the ingredients in the products and the absence of your oils and your butters, whether it's in a leave-in or a formulated product or a raw form. And because the ingredients in the products themselves, the shampoo, the gel,
Mhm.
like those, I've pointed out a few of those that will just eat your hair up, period.
Mhm.
And then, but say you were putting a good leave-in or, some, good butter, good oil um, in during this method, the damage would happen slower. It will happen, but it will happen slower because, again, these oils, these butters, these fats, they are food for your hair. They allow your hair to um, maintain its tensile strength. They allow your hair's cuticle to not degrade so fast. They allow protection from the environment. They do so many things for the hair. So you take them out, then the product just eating up the hair, just eating it up right on along with whatever the sun damage is doing. And no, so it would still happen, but it just would have happened slower.
Well, damn, look at where we found ourselves 3 years later.
It would just happen slower. So
Okay,
uh,
so we talked about all the products and ingredients that are terrible for us. And I know a lot of women are like, so what the hell should we be using? Because everything's toxic, it feels like.
not everything. A lot
I
of things are, but not everything.
I know. It feels like the majority of products are not health focused. Even if it says clean beauty, it doesn't really seem like it's like a marketing term at this
It's
point.
like define clean. Like, what are we talking about? We talking about somebody that just came in and like swept the floor, or are we talking about somebody that came in with the steam mop? Like, what is clean?
Yeah.
You got to do
So
that.
let's go into, and I know people want recommendations, and I'm not sure how deep you want to go into it, but what do you recommend? What oils do you recommend? What products do you recommend for these steps, for us to not have the damage that we're seeing if we do want to do a simple wash day, wash and go lifestyle? Because I have to say, when I was reading your book, you almost lost me when you mentioned bentonite clay. I was like, oh my God, no, 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 no. I'm not going back to mixing clay and this and that in the kitchen.
It's a good treat. It's not something. It's
Deleting
actually
this
one of
book.
the activities. That's one of them pampering detox things you do when you just want to take the time. But is it a necessary part of your regimen? No, you don't have to do it. But it's a nice pampering thing to do that'll actually like impart some detoxing benefits too. And like I do the face too. So yeah.
Well, now I'm looking at your skin. It's looking pretty clear. I don't know.
No, but you don't. It is not necessary. It's not like your hair is gonna shrivel up and die if you don't,
No.
do a clay mask. No,
All
no.
right. So, well, let's go into some product recommendations. What can we use?
So I if naturals want to be getting the most thorough clean without stripping the hair, then I recommend like shampoo bars. This is where you want to live, like shampoo bars, or this is soap. It's soap. It's Castile, it's African black, it's a mixture of these soaps and clays. Like if you want to be cleansing really well without stripping your hair down, look into the shampoo bars. And there's several brands that offer them. But then sulfate free, if you want to be a little more gentle than that. And sulfates, it needs surfactants only when you need to like bust your hair down to the bare bones. And I just really can't see needing to do that very often. Like I just don't see needing to clarify at the strength of an undo goo more than when you're getting some sort of chemical process, or you need to like take um, certain heat protected serums out your hair, because
Right.
those are like a lot of cones and things like that. But shampoo bars, uh, soap based things, or sulfate free, go for those. Like I said, the AG is a sulfate free, but it's got three sulfates, where the average sulfate free shampoo on the shelf may have one or two. And then they may also have like good honey and, nice natural humectants and things high up in the formula that make them in oils not so stripping. So gentle cleansers, um, and then good nutritive conditioners based on your hair type, the rinse out conditioners. I don't see why, um, like if you have to choose between, like if you're the kind of person that doesn't like to have the deep condition, like you can skip, you can use your deep conditioner for everything is basically what I'm trying to say. You don't
Right.
have to have both, because rinse out conditioners are basically designed to perform at the cuticle level, where deep conditioners are designed to perform at the cuticle and the cortex level. So you're getting, double the work in one product. So if you want to use your deep conditioner for everything, do it. It's not going to hurt anything. But you can have two different conditioners if you want to. Um, so you wash, you condition, find you a styler, a good nutritive styler that does not contain ingredients that are going to eat up your hair, like oils, butters. Yeah, use them raw. And I know a lot of us don't like to use them raw because you can get into using too much and they can get extra greasy and stuff. And so I do prefer them in a product that's been like really well blended and stuff. But you want to wash, you want to condition, you want to use your oil, fat, butter based leave-in styler, and then you put your holding product on top. It is really that simple. You don't need 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 holding products and no oils and or butters or leave-in stylers. Like, no, you got to feed your hair. You've got to protect your hair. So you could do the same method. You just need to make sure the ingredients in your products um, aren't tearing down your hair and that they're nutritive for your hair.
Is there a real difference between raw oil and oils that are formulated within the product? Yeah.
Yes. So the raw oils still have, well, one, you're getting the full, all the components of the oil in its raw form. That's what you're getting. Um, when you get the oil in a formulated product, they have diluted this in a base of emulsifiers, thickeners, preservatives, um, whatever other fragrance, all these things. So you're still getting the oil, but you're getting it with all these other things. So you're getting a lower strength of the oil coupled with some things that might be harmful to your hair and your health. So if
Mm.
you just use the oil and you're not using it to the point where you're like, greasy McPoppins,
I'm not gonna lie. I can even laugh because that used to be me. That used to be me. I had oil dripping down the side of my neck, and I make fun of myself all the time because I remember there was one video I filmed, and my head was wrapped, and the side of my head wrap, you can see there was a big old oil stain. That's how much oil I was putting on my hair and scalp.
Oh
Okay,
my God.
so,
We don't need that much. We don't need that much. And shea butter is the worst. Like if you're trying to use some raw shea butter, the littlest bit can go the longest way, but we be using way too much. Like that happened to me like in my early natural days. I was like, what is this? Like, people really doing this? Like, I just had used so much. It was just like you touch it and it was
yeah.
just oil everywhere. It would
I
like you
mean,
don't even
aren't
see no
you
oil.
really using the oil if you touch your hair and it's not greasy? Like, come
Like,
on, man.
man. So that's ideal. That's what we want, right? We want oils that can give us the nutrients without and butter formulations that without feeling greasy. That's really what we want. And so that is the benefit of like putting them in a well formulated product that doesn't contain a bunch of toxic ingredients. Okay.
Okay.
But it's also possible to blend them together yourself in a way that gives you the same thing if you know what to put together. And so like my line is completely raw. There is no water. There is not an emulsifier, ain't no solvent, ain't no preservatives, ain't no synthetic fragrance. It is butter, a handful of oils, essential oils, get your life. And then it's elixirs, just straight oils that are blended. But these are oil blends, so it ain't just coconut. I don't even use coconut anymore because a lot of people have allergies to it. But um, you learn the components of your oils and your butters, and you blend them in a way that you get what you need without the grease.
Mm-hmm.
Next
All right.
best thing is them diluted in a product with these fillers and emulsifiers. So that's like you're asking me, to me, when you ask the question, it's like, what's better, organic food or processed food?
Well, I think for me, what I've realized when I drop raw oils is how well my scalp is doing.
Hmm.
And when I was well, first of all, I was probably using way too much products, and there was a lot of buildup on my scalp. But not oiling my scalp or not putting oils in it, I find that it doesn't irritate my scalp as much as it used to be. Like I thought I had terrible dandruff, but as it turns out, I'm fine. Just
Was
really
it just
making
shampoo enough?
yeah, just shampooing my hair and shampooing my scalp and leaving it alone, my scalp just does very well. If I go 2 weeks and I haven't washed, then my scalp is screaming at me. It starts getting flaky. Like
Yeah.
it talks to me very clearly.
Mhm.
Like
Like,
wash
man,
me
what are
every
you
week.
doing?
Yeah, and I'm fine. So that said, I just thought that there was something with the raw oils that may be irritating to some,
Hmm.
versus when it's formulated in a product. I guess you're not really using as much and like putting the product on your scalp. You're likely putting the product on your hair. So,
Hmm.
um, and I also asked that question in terms of performance. Like, is the raw oil performing differently than one that is formulated? But from what you're saying, I'm hearing that's not necessarily the case.
It's yeah, it's just like I said, they're diluted, so you're not getting the full strength of the oil. And the purpose of dilution, of course, is to cut down some of the greasiness as well and stretch the oil. Like the oil is like, this is the gold of the product. And so if you can make 100,000 on 60 gallons of oil versus, you know what I'm saying,
Mm.
10,000, what you gonna do if your health standards ain't really that high?
Yeah, you're just adding a bunch of stuff in it. So I just
Man,
want to take African Hair God's question here because we talked about shampoo bars. And to be
shampoo.
fair, I'm not a huge fan of shampoo bars. I don't know if I've recently, not recently, I think last year I used one and I was just like, I I am not a huge fan of them. I don't think I've found one that I'm like, it
That
gives
you
me
really
that
like, yeah.
softness as
Mhm.
it's shampooing my hair. But African Hair God says soaps leave a film on the hair.
They
Does it?
can. They can. If you are in a place where the water is hard, then the film that you're gonna feel a film on the hair, which is the reaction of the base of the soap. with the minerals in the water. So if your water is hard and the soap has a hydroxide base, you'll feel a reaction. If the water's soft, you won't. If the soap doesn't have a hydroxide base, you won't. And if you feel the reaction and you put your conditioner on, it's gone. It's just a chemical reaction of like the minerals that are in the water. That's hard water is. It just got a lot of different minerals and things built up in it. And soaps that have hydroxide bases react with it. So like I don't know if you are familiar with like Alikay Naturals and like Melanin Hair Care. You know, they both offer I think they both have like African black soap based shampoos.
I feel like Alikay does, but I haven't
They
been
both
checking
do.
for them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so, really good. Like I know Alikay's has some honey and some other good stuff in it, but like they're soap-based shampoos and they're really, really good. Um, but they're not gonna eat up your hair. But they they don't eat up your hair and they will clean better than most sulfate free. And so there's nothing wrong if you want to do sulfate free and then you want to um, find a gentle clarifying shampoo. So I consider AG gentle clarifying, just so we're clear. That's gentle because undo goo is stripped it down.
Right.
Um, and that's what it's supposed to do. Um, but and then I have some other like even more gentle clarifying shampoos in the ebook that are recommended by hair type. If you want to do sulfate free majority of the time, and then get yourself a clarifying on when you feel like okay, my scalp is not really coming clean or my products aren't performing the way they used to, and that the ingredients haven't changed, clarify your hair, clarify your scalp,
Okay.
and you're going back to doing what you was doing.
All right.
And
Well, let's switch gears a little bit. I want to do some rapid fire questions. So those are questions that were already submitted. So I want to take care of those first. And then if you guys have any questions, of course, just leave them in the chat and then I'll bring them up. Whew, we've been out here for 2 hours already. So
girl, my eyes burning.
my stomach screaming. I'm getting hungry out here. So let's see if we can rapidly go through some of these questions. And I think a lot of them you probably answered. So we'll see. Black Girl claims that once the hair is shampooed and conditioned, leave-ins is not necessary because the hair is already conditioned and humectant gels are enough. They want to know your thoughts on this. Because that's a big claim. The whole leave-in situation ended up being a whole debate online. We never said that. We said that. They definitely said that leave-ins were not necessary. So, and now that we've dived into these gels and their ingredients, I feel like we know better. But what are quickly your thoughts?
Leave-ins are necessary because the leave-ins is where the oil is, where the butter is necessary.
Mm.
Now, if it's just a water-based leave-in, then no. If it just, like, but you need the fat, you need the oil, you need the butter, and majority of the leave-ins have them in there. Um, and our stylers again are leave-ins that aren't holding, right? Our non-holding stylers are also are leave-ins, and so just we need the oils, we need the butters, we need the fat, whether they're raw or in a product.
Okay.
Put them on before you put on your top coat, before you put on your gel, and your hair won't break down so fast if you're using products that eat your hair.
All right. Y'all heard it here first. I'm kidding. Y'all heard it in African Hair God's channel. Actually, that's where he got all of us straight. People love.
Right, and I love that he did that. I love that he came out for y'all because I was able to see some
Mhm,
of what was going on when he was speaking to it as well.
mhm,
It does not feel good to be out here by yourself as a
mhm,
client, as a consumer. Like you're wrong for
mhm.
doing what the stylist
Yeah.
told you to
To
do.
do. I mean, girl, you can say that. Don't you don't have to slow down the sentence. Say it. Like we were following like specific instructions.
And like seriously, like if a client was to say, "Okay, Amena, like something's going on with my hair. Like, can you explain, like, why this is happening or why this is happening, or this is what I'm feeling." My first question is, okay, well, let's take a look at your regimen, right? Like, let's go over what you're using, and then so we can kind of troubleshoot,
Mhm.
not to dismiss it or downplay it or make you wrong or like that. Just that's not the way we want to do things.
And I think at the beginning we wanted to believe in this. A lot of us wanted to believe in it so bad the way that it was presented to us. And I think we had an all or nothing mentality where it's
Mhm.
like, well, if this isn't working, we all have to go back. And some of us are enjoying this new way of taking care of our hair where it's, like I said, simplified, and we're wearing our hair even more. We don't need to put it in protective styles to kind of,
Mhm.
to wear it. And so there was a lot of like pushback. Even when African Hair Girl was discussing this, it was just like, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about. You're using grease anyway. And, people, like, but I don't know. There was a lot of pushback in terms of receiving the information
Mhm.
that was being presented. Because as much as you may have not been experiencing the damage yourself, that doesn't mean that someone else isn't. There's a lot of people coming out where you can't just be like, oh, it's just a one off, or this person has unicorn hair or whatever. It was just, no, there were valid concerns.
Listen, when that ok- every single brand that's had like, people come out and say this is, ruined my hair and the lawsuits start flying and stuff. You know what I do? I go join the Facebook group where all the women is talking about what's happening with their hair. And
Mm,
I'm just reading, what they're saying because that's where the truth is. Why are these people gonna start just lying on this brand? Just like why? Like they bought the thing, they're using it, they want it to perform well for their hair. Something's going on. So, I want to know, of course, what they're saying, but then, of course, like, all I have to do is, okay, look at the label. It's like, oh, I already know why this is happening, but let me see, how bad it's really getting for people.
yeah,
Every single time. This the ingredients. We have to become more knowledgeable about these
about
things.
ingredients. And you know what? That takes me perfectly to the next question, which is,
Oh, can I say one more
oh,
thing?
yeah, go ahead.
This whole idea of treating coils like curls. Curls don't need, especially the B's and the A curls, they don't need the richness of emollient as a 3C, 4A, B, C, Z. So they might be able to get by without um, as emollient things for a longer period of time than hair that is more tightly coiled and have kinks.
Hmm,
They
that's
might.
interesting.
Yeah, but I even still my coil, still my curlies, they still get the elixir. So when in the salon in my products, I would use the elixir on my curlies, my wavies and my curlies, and the coilies get the butter. They get the salve. They have different needs. So you're still getting the oil, but you're getting a real light oil. You're not getting the whole butter bust down
Mhm.
because curls typically don't have the kinks that coils do. So
Yeah,
we or what these people are calling tight curls,
yeah.
they're coils. Okay. And coils have kinks, which means their cuticles are gonna kick out more than a curl. And that's just more opportunity for moisture evaporation and breaks and things. And so we need a little bit more emollients. We need a little bit more nutritive. We need more reinforcement.
That's very interesting that you say that, because I
That's
think
the
a
only
lot
other
of,
thing I wanted to say.
well, now we got to discuss that. You're not going to drop this bomb and be like, anyways, moving on. No, no, no. No,
Right.
we're staying here for a second. Because the method itself is definitely like a one size putting everybody into this box, right?
Nope. Respect the coils, baby. Respect
Mhm.
the kinks.
A very streamlined way of everyone do the same thing, using the same products type thing. And now that you mentioned that, I wonder if that is also um part of the problem. Trying to put tight, and 4C doesn't exist in their world. Tight curl, like the label doesn't exist, because hair is hair, coil is a curl. They all need the same thing. But from what you're saying, that's not true, especially with the things that
No.
are present.
And to be fair, like that hair chart definitely misses some patterns, right? Like everything is not on the chart, like, but in as a general um catch all for what is uniquely common to ones, twos, threes, and fours, that part is right. But is there every like combination of coil and curl pattern and or lack of curl pattern or coil pattern on there? No, there's way more combinations that exist.
Okay. All right. Well, that was a very interesting point. Thank you for making it, because I, I think a lot of us with what we label as 4C hair, um, well, I hate to generalize, but I think we're a lot of us are having issues trying to fit into this box. And
Mhm.
sometimes just by changing the products and using something with a little bit more like heavier on the oils, maybe oils a little higher up the list, such as the Kinky Curly line, I think a lot of people are finding more much success just by switching the products, just by using something, using a leave-in under the gel, and it's like day and night difference. So
Hello, because
that
the hair needs it.
mm,
The skin needs it. Wait, somebody had commented on like it was your reaction video to my answer about what the problems were, and she said something to the effect of like, well, her just saying that just putting aloe vera gel on your skin after you get out the shower is just silly. That it is silly. It's as silly as just putting gel on your hair without putting on no oil, without putting on no lotion, without putting on no butter. You need to do it before you put on the gel. You need to do it, whether it's in a pre-formulated product or raw. You need to do it. Yeah, it's silly. It,
but what about the leave-ins that are like like it's a spray, like you just kind of
Mhm.
spritz the leave-in in and then you
Not enough. It's not enough. It's not oil. It don't have enough oil. It don't have enough fats. It don't have enough the lipids. It don't have enough. It's not enough. Mm.
okay. I was trying to speak for the people, can we can we
Hey,
okay, fine,
y'all
fine,
can
fine.
keep doing that if you want to. And like, cause what you say, African hair guy said is extreme dryness. Yeah, it's dry. It's dry. Your hair is ashy, and it's getting eaten up by these toxic ingredients
Dang, okay.
and the sun.
So next question. Now that you completely shot on my dreams.
It's not enough.
Since we're becoming more aware of the cheaper ingredients that are being used in black hair care products, have wait a minute. Since we're becoming more aware of the cheaper ingredients that are being used in black hair care products and that they've been found to be harmful, are black entrepreneurs taking the necessary step to keep those ingredients out of their products?
I am. And I do know several other brands that are doing a really good job of keeping those ingredients out. The other ones where they're failing, like they're good except for their synthetic fragrance. Like if they could just get that out of there, you know what I'm saying? But if synthetic fragrance is acceptable to y'all, then that would be a perfect fit. Um, the products that I recommend don't have none of that in there though. Like in my ebook, no, they are like the cleanest, purest, most top tier. And of course, I'll be adding more as more brands, come in front of my face. I'll be because it's a digital product, so I can always add more ingredients to be concerned about, but also more brands that are really pure and natural and don't have these toxicants in it. But we need more. We need more product makers that are truly committed to natural, healthy products. Like, why are we running around putting a toxic soup on our natural hair? What was the point of going natural? Like, if you're just going to destroy your hair with this stuff, like, and so that was one of the things, like, working with all the women that I work with, behind the chairs, that for some of them, it wasn't even about being healthy overall. It was just okay, the hair, because like something was happening with their hair, it was breaking off or
Yeah.
what have you. Some
Yeah.
of them were just bored with it. It was really just the hair. It wasn't this whole body, let me get healthy thing.
Yeah.
And so that was something that I had to sit in for a while. And how do we move you a little bit closer to the other side?
Mm, yeah.
Because that was why I was there primarily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, for me, it was definitely health. Um, And also money.
Mhm.
I was broke at some point, being in university. You don't have the money to
Hey.
keep getting these relaxers and anyways, is it okay to pre-poo with oils when you have an itchy scalp that doesn't seem to like oils?
If your scalp is telling you it doesn't like something, don't do it. We want to remedy the scalp issue first. And so a lot of times it could be some internal thing and some internal imbalance contributing to why the scalp is always itchy or has certain types of dermatitis build up. So we need to figure out like what is happening with the scalp before doing adding oil, adding things that it doesn't like. We got to
Right.
learn to listen to our scalp, got
Yeah.
to learn. And
And I,
so
I agree with that. I think that's
mhm,
a conversation that doesn't typically happen when we speak of our scalp because
mhm,
like internally, like how your internal health can actually
mhm,
be affecting your scalp, what we eat, the inflammation in the body, how
mhm.
that can affect our scalp. I don't really see us talking about it that way. It's always what can I do, what can I put on the scalp from the outside perspective and not really from an inside point of view.
Yeah.
All right, well,
So
don't
I
do it with
would
your
do
scalp.
it.
Yeah, your scalp
I would talk
you
to
do it.
someone about remedying getting a scalp analysis and get that under control before trying to move into the oil pre-poo, especially when your scalp is
It's
telling you
telling you.
don't like it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, next question, which we kind of answered, but I think people really they want to hear it. Based on the ingredients, we kind of did that, but based on the ingredients, is Uncle Funky's daughter safe without a leave-in? She's asking specifically because it's working very good for her so far. Abort mission.
Wait, nothing is safe without a leave-in. That's my answer. Seriously, don't skip the leave-ins, y'all. Like they're good. That's where the good stuff is. Now, the original formulation of Uncle Funky's was much better than this current one. Okay, so just don't skip the leave-in. Like you could do it for a while, but your hair is going to dry out faster. It's going to break down faster because you're not putting a leave-in, product that has the ingredients, which are mainly our, oils and our fats that are protecting and feeding and reinforcing the hair.
Okay.
Uncle Funky's only has a little bit of jojoba, a little bit. And and it's way after the water and the glycerin or whatever the heck else it was. It's just not enough. Unless you're like a type 2 or wait, like maybe are you 2 or 3? Like, but if you're using Uncle Funky's, I don't think you are. You might be a 3, but
Mm.
mm-mm.
All
No,
right.
don't skip the leave-in, baby.
So I may butcher these names or these ingredients, but she is specifically asking about two ingredients: is
Mhm.
limonene
Uh-huh.
and linalool. Are
Uh-huh.
they safe?
They are. They are components of essential oils, basically. You'll find them higher in like the citrus oils, a lot of the grassy oils, but they are mainly used for like fragrance, antioxidants, and preservative. And so they are safe. They're not toxic. Um, Now these compound, you want to put them in a product, you want to dilute them in something. You don't want to just be putting straight linalool or limonene or even some essential oils. You don't want to just put them straight on. You got to dilute them in something like a oil or a water or something. But yeah, they're safe. They're perfectly fine.
All right. Do we
Mhm.
really need to deep condition, or can we use a 3 to 5 minute deep conditioner with a leave-in?
If you could do either, but if I had to choose, I'm always do the deep conditioner. I'm the person that will always I would rather do more than enough than not enough. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if I am a minimalist, and I don't like to have 50 to 11 products, I will use a deep conditioner every single time instead of, oh, I just want to do this rinse out. Like sometimes, you want the rinse out because you just like it. You love, it smells good and da da da. But if I'm going for like the most bang for the buck, let me go ahead and hit up the inside and the outside of the strand all at once. And that's what deep conditioners are for.
Do
where
you
the
think that they are only necessary when there is an issue?
no, for what? They don't. It is not hurting nothing if unless it's a protein based deep conditioner, which most of us don't need. We won't be using a protein based deep conditioner. Like well formulated moisturizing deep conditioners will have trace amounts of amino acids, which are the building blocks of protein, which allow your hair to build the protein that it needs. Most um, well formulated moisturizing conditioners will have some trace aminos in there. There's nothing wrong with, you know, doing the most instead of the least. That's how I'm at. That's how I'm at with it.
For sure. All right. Do we have? I guess this person wants a list of commonly toxic ingredients. They're focused under health first. And you know what? For that, I would say to get your ebook because
They
there's
in there,
a
boo.
long list of everything in there. Shamelessly plug in your product. And I know some
Mhm.
people felt some sort of way about this, like, oh, is she only here to sell her products? And you know what? Someone left that comment, and I definitely snapped that, sis, because I'm like, listen, we create. No, I have to. I have to. This at this point of my career, I'm just like, I'm not even. Don't come on my page with that BS because we creatives have to make a living somehow, and
Yeah.
I don't think it's fair to invalidate someone's knowledge and ideas just because they have a product that they're selling as well.
Hmm.
I've never seen anybody say that to the stylists that are charging us $500 for a haircut. Oh,
Hey.
you know, you
Hmm.
shouldn't do. No, I don't see it. But in here on YouTube, we have given our time, our energy for free for years. Even today,
Yeah.
it's been 3 hours of us, almost 3 hours of us sitting here, really pouring into the community. And for you
Hmm.
to come to my page with this, no, girl,
Girl.
I was like, you better get up out of here. But on your way out, please pick up an ebook.
Wait, let
We're
me
not
tell you
doing that.
something. I am a stylist that charges for consultations, right? So I would have people come by and, like, they're walking by and they're curious and da da da. And they're like, oh, well, I was wondering, can I da da da? Okay, yeah, here's the website. You can book a consultation. Oh, I have to pay? Like, I said, yeah, the person sitting in this chair, did you pay? Tell her, did you pay? And she happy. So you can, or you can not. But um, what doing here uh, is valuable, you know, and I only want to work with people who value their hair and their health enough to want to invest in it. Because what I found in the early days of just helping out and dispensing free information is that some people won't even circle back to say thank you.
Mm, mm,
You
mm.
done spent your time troubleshooting for them because you care about their hair. You want, natural hair to be easy for them. So they're having this problem. You're going to troubleshoot. You're going to be all active in the forums. You big natural hair sis. And they won't even come back and say thank you. I don't do that anymore. So I took the time to write the book though, because since I'm not behind the chair anymore, um, and I still get a lot of questions about things from people, I feel like all of my years of experience, I wanted to simplify that for people so that no matter who their stylist is or where they go in the world, they will know the basic best care practices, products included, to take care of their hair. How often should you wash it? What you need to wash it with? Do you need a trim? How, the basic styling and products for your hair type so that natural hair can be easy.
Yeah.
And you're doing this yourself. And then if you want to, partner with a stylist, well, now you have some basic training in a written format that you can compare, okay, what this person is doing and saying versus what I know to have worked for me.
Yeah.
I
And I
still
think
need to
it
focus in
empowers
that
you too. I think a lot of time we sit in a stylist chair and we're uncomfortable to say, why are you doing this? Or maybe this should be done because we're not sure of the information. We've had contradicting information thrown at us.
Mhm.
So we trust and believe that they're the expert and they have our best, um, care in mind. But I think it at least empowers you to raise your hand and say, I wonder why
Yeah.
we're doing this step,
Can you
or
explain this to me? Like,
yeah,
and if they can't explain it to you in a way that makes sense, like really like layman's terms, they don't understand it.
yeah,
They should be able to give you, several analogies to make it very clear and plain without having to break out all these long, complicated technical terms that you don't understand, they don't understand, but it sounds good. It sounds like they're saying something, but they can't make it plain for you. They don't
yeah.
understand it. They're just regurgitating.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of that over the past couple of years. I feel like all the stylists, wait, the tight curl specialists have been saying the same thing. You hear the same messaging, oils in water don't mix, and it's like, where did this come from? Like, how come no one can actually explain why we're doing certain things, and
Mhm,
or
mhm,
use a quality product? And the question that I had a lot at the beginning was, what is a quality product? And I couldn't really get an answer
mhm.
for that. And it was very much, oh, get a conditioner that foams. And I'm like, you know what, there's a lot of conditioners that foams that are I even can tell that's not really a quality product.
That's what they were saying.
That's in person, but we're not gonna drop no names. What is wrong with Cantu?
So, Can2 uses refined shea butter, if I'm not mistaken. And so when you refine a natural product, what you do is you basically, use some sort of solvent to denature it, to cleanse it of, its original color, its original odor. But what goes with that is the fats, like the nice lipids and fatty things that are feeding our hair, what it needs, the part that make it greasy, that goes away. And what gets left behind is some of these harmful trace chemicals in that of the solvent. So that's number one. You're reducing the effectiveness of the main ingredient. And then they're adding in synthetic fragrance. They're adding in some of these preservatives that we went over. And it just isn't one of the better quality polymers, which means you're going to have to use some sort of sulfate shampoo. Like this one's going to build up on you if you're doing sulfate free. That one's going to build up on you, and you're going to need to clarify eventually to get it off your hair. So the ingredients are what's wrong with Can2. And so I'm the kind of stylist that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna tell you this ain't the good stuff for your hair. Cause I had this one client, she loved Can2. I was like, okay. So she would bring it to her appointment. She wanted the Can2. I said, okay, we gonna do this Can2, and in about 3 months, I want you to tell me how your hair feels. And she came back and she was like, yeah, I don't think I want to use the Can2 no more. Sometimes, this is your hair. So
I think it's the slip. It's the slip of Cantu that gets people in
it's
right away. Like, I remember that product. Ooh, I don't know what was in there. It was like gooey, slippery. And even I don't know if the packaging has changed, but back in the day, I'm talking about 2011, when we're all like in hair forums.
Mhm.
Cantu was very popular back then, which is why I
Mhm.
was using it and bought it. And there was a disclaimer on the label itself saying to make sure that it doesn't touches your scalp, um, because of, I guess, whatever was in the product. And a lot of us were like, that's strange. And mind you, those were the days of product junkyism. We were just putting everything on our hair. And I'm like, a hair product that shouldn't touch your scalp?
Your scalp, like, what is this about?
What is that about? Yeah.
Mhm.
So I
Red
think it is
flag.
an ingredient thing when it comes
Mhm.
to Kentu.
But yeah, so it just doesn't have the highest quality ingredients, and it does contain things that will build up on your hair and that are harmful to your health. And so unless they've changed it, I definitely was not one of the products that I ever recommended. No. And I'm like, okay, but girl, we gonna use this Can2 because you like it. And then in about 3 months, I need you to tell me, check in with me about how your hair is feeling, because I'm telling you it's not good for you. And she showed it. She was like, yeah, no, I think I don't like it. My hair is like it's dull. It's not holding water the way like she just noticed a difference. I'm like, okay, well, let's go ahead and just strip it on off now.
Let's
And
use
go
now
on
this
my
thing.
way. Like, I'm gonna let you do this. Like, you're a grown woman, right? But I'm gonna tell you, this is not gonna go well for you.
All
Right.
right. I think you touched base onto that a little bit. Does natural means clean and beneficial?
Hmm.
Does natural hair, does natural products, naturally based products, does that mean that they're clean and beneficial for us?
Yeah, generally speaking, yes. And so again, we got to define clean, right? So, because some people's clean is sweeping the floor, and some people's clean is steam mopping. So, really take a look at what synthetic ingredients are in this product and what are they doing to your hair first. If that's all you care about, just okay, how does this, impacting my hair? And then if you want to take it a step further, what are the health implications of these synthetic ingredients? Because majority of the natural ones are fine, they're great unless you're allergic to them, you don't have any concerns with them.
All right. And I think we're down to the last question. Well, I guess you talked about it a little bit. Do we need to oil our scalp?
You don't need to, but it's a wonderful thing to do if your scalp can tolerate it. And most people's scalps can when they're balanced. So what you need, when you balance, you don't have any scalp issues. So what you need to be making sure though is if you oil your scalp, that you're shampooing regularly. That's it. So that the shampoo is taking the oil away. You just make sure you do your shampooing regularly if you're going to be oiling your scalp. And so when I oil my scalp the most is when I deep condition my hair. So it's probably like every week to 2 weeks. I'll put the conditioner on my hair. I'll put the oil on my scalp. Or when I'm wearing styles where my scalp is exposed. Like, I have braids or flat twists or like what you got going on, then I'll oil it. But if it's, honey, I'm not getting all up in this. It'll wait until wash day. But yeah, because again, the oils are feeding the hair and the scalp, so you would not only is the hair getting the nutrients from the base of the follicle on the inside, but there are things in these oils, some of them stimulants and whatnot that can penetrate through the scalp and be beneficial to the growth of the hair and just the maintaining the lipid balance of the scalp itself. So,
Okay.
or as long as these things aren't clogging, they're non-comedogenic type of oils, and you're shampooing regularly, even if they were, you're fine.
All right.
You're
Well,
fine.
let's take questions from the audience. And I'm going to start with this tea. It's not really a question. But you know me, sometimes I like to get a little petty. That was in regards to the conversation we're having around quality products.
Mm,
And she was saying quality products to them means not easily accessible to your average Black woman, but they don't want to say it out loud. You know,
hmm.
nah, we don't
Well,
want to get
everything,
into.
I mean, what they say, things worth having is worth working for. Like, just everything, I'm not saying it has to be, not easy. I don't know. I just ain't really with the whole, well, if it ain't easy, I'm not doing it. Like, I couldn't even be an entrepreneur if that was my attitude. So, if it's better for my health to order direct from the boutique vendor, or is spend a little bit more money so that I know that I'm doing the best possible thing for my hair and my health, I would rather do that than eat the McDonald's. That's just that. So, and to be fair, like there are some things on the shelf that are good. You could walk on into the Target and pick you up some Alakay. Like really, the worst thing in majority of her products was the synthetic fragrance.
Mm,
The worst thing
you know,
in majority of them.
because I know
Um,
a lot of people were kind of asking for some actual
I like
product.
her
What
stuff.
brand?
I love and respect her journey. If she could get that Honey and Sage deep conditioner, you know what I'm saying? I love it. But there are some things that could go and it would be top tier.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
yeah, and so depending on your health standards, if you okay with a little, a couple things here and there, which this isn't the best ingredient, but long term, is it going to kill? Is it going to kill
Is it
my hair? Is it going to harm my health? Yeah, like probably not. If I use it sparingly and detox
Mhm.
regularly, I might be okay with this.
And I think a lot of us have, well, we're under the impression if it's expensive, it's higher quality.
Not true,
What
because
is
honey, these products that these folks is recommending in these salons is expensive trash. And unfortunately, and I think I said this in my video to answer the question, like stylists are not they're not trained on ingredient knowledge. It is not a part of the curriculum in any cosmetology school anywhere ever. Because if it was, how could relaxers have even been a thing? You
Yeah,
understand?
that's true.
Have they even been an invention, a thing that like made it into the beauty salons like way back in the day, and still, they're dying a very slow death. But that is not a part of the education. And so you'll have these stylists that are trained under the salon wheelhouse or what have you, and these are the products you use.
Hmm.
And this is what they do. And you not even allowed to use or bring nothing else in. And that was not the path I chose to go. I chose to open my own places and use what the hell I wanted to use, because I know that stuff, most of that stuff is not good for our health. And I wanted my clients' hair to be healthy. I wanted to be in good shape. Um, so I couldn't go the path of somebody else's salon with these set products, and that just was not the way.
Yeah. Just
Thank
gonna
you, African hair god. I don't know what you're talking about, but I thank you because I saw what you did for the ladies in
no,
the.
African hair gods was carrying our hair on his back.
Hey,
Listen.
I saw him out here, like,
So we stand with you, African hair god over
you
here.
know,
Listen, people don't like your delivery and this and that, but we're all coming to the same
they
conclusions.
might not
And
like how it come out, but it ain't wrong.
no, not wrong at all. There's enough women that were like same case with Cammy here. They used Uncle Funky's daughter at first. Their hair was popping, and then it was a gradual decline to damage land.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. Like, it really shouldn't be like that. We should not have to know all these things. We should be able to defer to our professionals if we have them, as a partner in our hair care, right? We should be able to, and know and trust that, okay, they can steer us in the right direction. But unfortunately, that's just not the case for majority of professionals out there. But larger than that, that these ingredients are even allowed from the FDA, and
Mm,
the USDA, like they shouldn't even be allowed because they are that bad for our health.
yeah, that's a whole conversation when it comes to the FDA and what's allowed on the shelves. It's like free for all.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
So one of the things that I've said from the very beginning is that it felt like we were chasing curls with this method, and a lot of people came for me. I got so much hate on the internet, but good thing, when I log off, I log off. y'all can't bother me. That's the Haitian in me, where if you don't know me, you're not gonna be able to get to me like that.
Mhm.
And I think even to this day, it's about seeing the curls, capturing the curls, and perhaps that's one of the issue with trying to find balance between frizz
Mhm.
and just definition,
Mhm.
and using products that's going to define the hair at all costs. And
Mhm.
perhaps that's why and I think that's one of the reason why we avoided leave-ins, right? Or the oils and the butters, because we don't want the frizz. And when it comes to defining, we're using these harsher products because they're going to hold the hair in place. Do you have any recommendations where we can achieve the curls, the no frizz curls, but yet using some products that are uh, ultimately not going to grind down our hair?
You talking about specific products?
People like specific. I know how they think. They want specifics.
They want specifics, honey.
In terms of like the styling part, say you wash, you condition, you use whatever leave-in, something ultimately that has some good oils and butters in there that's going to prep you for
Mhm.
the styling stage where you want to get your hair to pop, the curls popping. Like, how could we get that, Amina, without drying our hair, without going to the extreme to get it?
Okay. The best thing you can do to have your curls and coils popping is hydrate your hair on a regular basis. And what I mean by that is keep it clean with shampoos that don't strip and keep it conditioned. You don't even, you won't even though products serve a protective function and they feed the hair, da, 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 you won't need them to make the curl and the coil pop because it'll be doing that all on its own because it is hydrated and it's balanced. The products are just there to capture how healthy your coils and your curls are. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
When our hair is, dry or bordering on dehydration, it doesn't behave normally. It is more prone to frizz. We need the products to, simmer that on down. So that is the wisdom in Dickie's method.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the water, he getting the
Yeah.
water on there daily, whatever. But say you wanted to get the water on there twice a week instead of once a week. That's better, right? Say you deep conditioned instead of just rinse out condition. I mean, how much damage is occurring to the the cuticle of your hair when you are keeping it hydrated, you keeping it fed, and you keeping it protected. But when you are depriving it water, putting things on it that's eating up the cuticle, not protecting it, with our lovely oils and fats or products that have them in them, it is drying out, it is puffing up, it is breaking down. So you want coils and curls that pop, stay on top of your care regimen. And then your products that you put on are just capturing what's there. Like there are days when I'm lazy as hell and don't put shit in my hair. Excuse me, YouTube, water, and I'm out the door.
Excuse me.
Water. And I might put, like just pin it up or whatever. So it's like, but that's it. Ain't nothing in my hair because I'm being lazy. But my coils is popping because I want my hair get hydrated every single week. And the conditioner is bomb. And the stylers are bomb. You understand? So the hair is not breaking down. So the products are there to capture what um just to capture what's already there is the hair that's in excellent condition. So that's the best thing you could do.
Okay.
Have a real nutritive hair care regimen. Um The next best thing, beside, you going to make you some flaxseed gel. Make your own gel. But then
Never.
if you want to get the shelf, like, I mean, Case, she's good. She got some good gels. Um, who else got some good gels out there? I have a list real quick. Let me see. Because I did have some that I was like, they ain't top tier, but they ain't so far down that they gone cause you problems right away. Let's see.
Another concern a lot of people have too is using leave-ins is going to soften the hold um, of the styler. Now, this is something that I don't know if it's gospel, if it's true, because it depends on the person. Because a lot of
Mhm.
women will use, say, a leave-in under their gels, and like, oh my God, my life is saved. Now I can use this gel and my hair isn't dry. And the firm is still there, not an issue. And then there is this fear almost that I feel was put out by Black Girl Calls that if you use a leave-in under your gels, then it's going to soften your hold. You're not going to get the
Mhm.
same level of hold. Is what is your opinion on that? Because I mean,
It,
at the end of the day, I'd rather have a soft hold and healthy hair than
mhm.
damaged hair and strong hold.
It definitely might. And so it's highly likely that it will, depending on the holding product. And so it depends on the gel that you're using, right? And so if you want to guarantee yourself some really, firm hold without toxins, you're gonna make you some flaxseed gel.
Oh my gosh. We're done. We're
You're
done.
gonna make
All
you're
of
gonna
us
go ahead and
are
you're gonna make
losing
it
your
up.
hair.
You're gonna find you somebody that make it and don't put a bunch of crap in it. But it, I mean, or maybe use more gel. Maybe you need to do that. But I would not suggest skipping. the food, the protection,
Yeah.
the yeah, I would not recommend. So it might
It all
soften
comes
the whole,
back
but
to
like I like touchably soft, it's still firm. I like that. I don't like, crunchy clump, but we all have our thing, that we land. And this doesn't even have any holding product in it whatsoever. This is just one of my salves. But typically when I want to do somehow, like I like it to be springy. I like it to still be crisp, but not crunchy. You
Mhm.
understand? And
Yeah.
so that is going to be a characteristic when you're using a leave-in, or whether it's a raw or a formulated product. It will soften the hold, and so you might have to compromise on that, or you might have to layer up your gel a little bit more. um yeah.
All right. Well, you were looking for some products. Don't think I forgot.
Listen. So I'm looking, and the only two, okay, Comet Biologics is on here. Y'all know Comet.
Yeah. They were really popular back in the day.
I'm not sure what they gels look like though, to be honest. But they are on here, and like I'm not sure how the gel hold. Let me say that. And then Allocate Naturals is on here. Like of all the stuff on the shelf, she was the best, uh, except that synthetic fragrance.
Mm.
She had the least amount of synthetic harmful ingredients per product. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that is my gauge. It's like, okay, is it free and clear of all that stuff? And then how many do we have? And then how harmful are these things? Because yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Are you familiar with Curl Mix?
I am familiar with Curl Mix, but I did not actually look into Curl Mix. So that might be one that I will put on the list to look into. And when I update the recommended products list in the ebook,
Hmm.
if it make it, it make it. But it's doing really well from what I understand. And
Yeah.
again, like my standards are a little higher than the average person. Like I'm the organic food person. I'm the raw person. I'm not I'm not the processed food or processed product in mass person, because I understand where that's going to take my health long term.
Okay.
And I we just it just ain't necessary to go there.
I have a really good question here.
Girl mix.
Is the process of using a hooded dryer every week damaging? Because mind you, we're not using any type of heat protectant. It's gels sitting under the dryer, not even a leave-in conditioner, none of that.
Because yes, because again, you don't have the fatty, oily, lipid layer to mitigate uh what the heat is doing, because the heat is causing the water to come evaporate really rapidly, and that's going to speed up how fast the hair breaks down. So you yeah, now if you had the oily lippy fatted layer, I mean it's still not as good as, say, air drying, or even like rough drying. Do you rough dry? Like when I do sometimes when I do my wash and go, if I don't want to air dry, I will take that blow dryer and just wave it all around the head till the hair is dry. And then if I really want to get big and ridiculous with it, then I'm stretching the whole situation. Rough drying is even less damaging than the hooded dryer, because a lot of that heat is concentrated right on your canopy. So you don't have the oily barrier to slow it down, and
Hmm.
it's cooking your cuticle.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
mean, we were told that we can compare a hooded dryer as like a hot sunny day.
And will a hot sunny day do it? Will it do it? If you go outside in the hot sun, um with dry hair, and I'm talking about, triple digits hots, and you go out there with dry hair every day, what is happening to your hair? Straw. It's gonna feel like straw. Um, I There used to be a time when I lived in a really hot area, and if I wanted to wear my hair out, like I'm doing the dicky. I'm doing the water every day. I'm going in the house and I'm wetting down and I'm putting the conditioner on and I'm sitting there with it because your hair is getting cooked up. So you need to layer it with things that are going to protect it and help to distribute some of those rays and block some of that direct heat. Mm-hmm.
All right. We're just gonna take a few more questions before we wrap up. Do you think websites that evaluate product ingredients are pretty accurate?
For the most part, it depends on the source because you have something like a blogger, right, who has like no scientific education or yeah, like no formal scientific, or product formulation education. So if you're talking about something like that, then maybe not. But if you're talking about someone who does have, the chemistry, the scientific education, or even like a pub chem, people who are actually into evaluating the product down to the molecular
Mm-hmm.
um, components, then that would be more accurate.
Yeah.
So it depends on the source
Yeah.
and who's doing the evaluating.
Yeah, because there's a few websites that popped up recently, like the Yuka. There's
Mm-hmm.
another one. Ugh, can't remember it now. It's like a acronym that I use a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly, I need to study those a little bit more because half of the products I'm using out here is questionable.
They quite,
Questionable to say the least.
and
Um,
it sucks because it shouldn't be like that. It really shouldn't be like that.
what about Camille Rose? Are you?
Overall, I like Camille, but I would have to take a closer look at her because she was not in the list of the 11 that I evaluated before writing the ebook. She was not, but I'm familiar with her. I remember liking her. I know she does synthetic fragrance, and that's a big no-no for
They
me.
all do.
And so there were other things there also, but overall, I would say that she better than Shea Moisture. The where Shea Moisture done fell. You know what I'm saying? It done fell, honey. It done fell all the way from grace since it sold out to who is it? The people that own Dove. So anyway, I think you
Unilever.
have to look
Isn't it
closer at
Unilever
Camille.
that owns?
Hmm?
Isn't it
Unilever.
Unilever? Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, child. So
Uh,
Camille,
let's see. Any more questions here? Which question am I answering? Listen, Sheree, I'm gonna fight you. You come here. You come here now. Because I'm pretty sure I featured like 7 of your questions already. Which one did I miss? If there's one, type it again and I will feature it if I see it. There's another question here that I saw. Now it's gone.
Mhm.
Do. How about Olaplex? I saw a lot of people asking about Olaplex. Are you familiar with them?
So yes, I am. And I actually did consulting for them back in 16, 17 before they came
Ah,
out with all of these care products. Um, and so as in the bond builder space, they do that. They do that well. And that is just basically to reconnect the disulfide bonds that are broken during chemical processing. This does not apply. I mean, it can loosely apply to heat damage within moderate ranges, but relaxer and perm damage, not whatsoever. Okay, so the 1, the 2, the 3, those are fine. The 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, no. Okay, don't do it. Don't do it.
don't do
If
it.
you're only for the bond building, purpose. Um, they're not for hair care. They are in addition
Let's
to
see.
your care regimen. Yes. And so yeah, I was on their team for a minute to consult to make sure that highly textured girls were included in um that space. And then when they wanted to, now I can't even say this, I stopped working with them when the time was right.
I wonder. A lot
I
of
ain't
these
gonna say it because I
products.
don't need nobody coming to be like, you should.
Now we didn't hear nothing, girl. I
Girl,
kind of wonder though if a lot of these companies actually are as inclusive as they say, especially when it comes to Black hair care.
they gotta
Um,
be.
And you know, I kind of think about innocence. For some reason, it pops to mind because you know it's big now in the black hair care community, especially with this whole wash and go situation. But how um I just don't know if the products are doing what we need them to do. They
Mm-hmm.
probably work well for looser textures, straight hair, white hair, whatever. When it comes to like black hair, like as you talk about having heavier oils and the butters and the fats, I just feel like these products don't have any of that. But yet
Yeah.
it's being used in our hair and
Mm-hmm.
trying to make it fit into a puzzle that it doesn't quite fit.
You're dead on it. Like I said, coils and curls have this. They have different needs. And like my product recommendations reflect that. They're from the shampoos to the conditioners especially, and the stylers, they're going to be different between curls and coils, and even the waves. So trying to treat coils like tight curls, honey, no,
Okay.
it just is
That's
not.
not gonna work.
Mm-mm. And then to put it on top of all of that, that the ingredients is trashing everybody here, not just ours. Because I know you done seen some curly girls out there where they curls turned into dry matted waves. I know you
Mhm.
saw
We've
it.
seen
So
those.
it's not just, yeah. But are they formulated for us? No.
All right. Well, let's move on to cutting techniques.
Hmm.
Because you talked about that in your original video as well.
Hmm.
So maybe you can elaborate a little bit more. I don't think you mentioned wet. I don't remember, but maybe you can clarify wet cutting versus dry cutting, or versus the cut it kinky technique, which is cutting curl by curl after your hair has been styled. So you can imagine you wash, you condition, hair's popping, you capture these curls, and your hair's looking good at that point, especially if you with a stylist. And now
Hmm.
you're cutting for what I can argue cutting for shape because you're trying to get a tapered look, you're trying to get your
Yeah.
hair to look good. So maybe you can talk about how healthy that is, versus, you know, what you mentioned, which is stretching the hair, really
Hmm.
assessing, getting the damage off, and then you can kind of touch up after for the shape.
Hmm. So I cut wet most of the time. And that's basically after it depends on how clean the hair is, but the hair, there needs to be something slippery in the hair, like a nice conditioner or cutting lotion. And sectioning the hair, combing through the hair, cutting the shape into the hair. This allows me to, one section, we're going to discuss, okay, this is how much ends of your hair need to go, right? How much do you want to go? How much are you comfortable with parting with before I even start, cutting the hair? But all of this can happen wet. And when you are really well trained, you can see and in experience, like you can see where the hair starts to taper, it starts getting thinner, but you can also feel where the cuticle is rougher. So this is where we base, okay, this is how much needs to go, how much do you want to go? And then after that, we just stop cutting the hair wet, combing through the hair wet, but it's detangled, obviously, and put it in the shape. And then we will shampoo or condition, depending on if I cut the hair dirty or clean. And then we go in for the wash and go styling. And then, or whatever other style they want. Sometimes they want, a updo or what have you. But for the sake of wash and go styling, then I, go ahead and layer in the products, which is two. It's two products. It ain't three gels and two. I don't understand it. It's two products. Um, and then I do the rough dry most of the time with my people because again, we don't need all of the canopy, the concentrated canopy damage. So like if it might start under the hooded dryer and then we finish with the rough dryer, just depends on what's going on. I mean the rough dry. And then they good to go. Usually there's really nothing else left to do.
Mm,
Usually, but if there is, say there's like this is hanging longer because some of us have a little heat damage or some of us like to wear our hair up in ponytails, so the perimeter is going to hang longer than um the rest. When it curls, like when it really, then might refine that. But
okay.
generally no, I cut wet, so it's not necessary to blow dry. Like I can blow dry, and usually if I blow dry to cut, it's because the person's finished style is going to be on blow dried hair, whether we're going to fully
Mm.
straighten it or there's something we're doing on blow dry hair. Otherwise, I'm cutting wet.
Yeah, and my stylist does the
Or
same thing too. She started cutting my hair wet, and actually, the last time I saw her, she did the same thing all around my head. That's what I wanted. I was like, oh, I preferred this way because the time before that, she did wet. The half of my head was cut wet with conditioner in it. So she basically like stretch it out, get
Yeah,
some
you got
shape.
to
Yeah,
maintain tension.
detangle it all the way. And I think it takes a level of skill because I have severe shrinkage.
Yeah.
And for my hair to still look really good after styling, I think that's a
Mhm.
whole skill. And then for the top part, she did like the curly cut situation, and I don't remember why we did it that way. I think I really wanted like a very sharp tapered look at the back, so she suggested it. But then the way that my hair kind of grew and progressed over time, I ended up liking the blunt cut better because then my
Mhm.
hair remained nice and blunt. The ends were really nice versus the front. Then it starts getting, I don't know, springy, and like you can see the unevenness.
Mhm.
So I was like, cut my entire head wet. And that's what we did last time. But I definitely say if you're gonna do that with a stylist, make sure they know what they're doing because
Yes, because
I
if you're not, good with your use of tension when I say, stretching, making sure you're stretching the hair to the same point every time. And when you're using, if you know how to cut hair, you are using the previously part of the hair that you cut as a guide.
don't.
So that part is moving around the head with you.
Hmm.
But yeah, if you don't use the same amount of tension every time, your haircut gonna be like this. So
Janky.
it does take some skill. It takes some skill.
No, I from the very first time I was like, oh, is she gonna cut my hair wet? Because during my shrinkage is set up, I was like, are you
Mhm.
sure, ma'am? Double check. But
Okay.
it ended up being really nice. So I think it not every stylist. Not if your stylist just took a little course of a certain website,
I was saying,
don't do it.
don't do it.
Thoughts on using mousse. Is mousse damaging to the hair over time? Because for a little while there was this thing going around where we're using one product wash and goes, and it was just one mousse. So imagine if we're to wash, condition, and just use a mousse, nothing else.
Okay. So yeah, if we're just washing and conditioning and we're just using a mousse, which does not have, y'all not getting me off of this oils and butters and fats and things. Like they are necessary. So um they're necessary.
We heard you.
We're just using the mousse, absolutely. But even if say you're just putting the mousse on top of your leave-in or your leave-in styler, depends on the ingredients in the mousse, right? Because some mousse can have nice humectants, they could have fatty alcohols that aren't drying, they could have preservatives that aren't toxic, and they could contain no potassium hydroxide that's going to eat up your hair. So it really depends on the ingredients of the mousse. But even if the mousse was the healthiest thing ever, you need to be putting it on top of something with some oil and some butter and some fat in it.
You know what? Now that you're talking about this, it's bothering me because I wish we had the ingredient list of Mousse Def. Mousse Def is a very popular mousse that was recommended as well. And Mousse Def's direction for Mousse Def says not to use a leave-in or anything with like oils. Make sure I said that right. No, nothing with like an oily layer under the mousse because it performs best on its
Mhm.
own. And maybe I don't know if we have time. Oh, it's already 4 o'clock.
Girl, hey, we push it on this time.
If y'all want, I can put up the dew. I think it's called the dew.
The
With that
do. I'm looking at
ingredient.
it.
Okay.
Water polyquarterman 55. That's the second ingredient. What are you, polyquarterman 55? Okay. Child. Hold on.
Save again. All right. Can y'all see my screen? I'm sure y'all can see the ingredient of the dew. Because I wonder if it's fine to use something like this over and over on your hair.
Polymer. Okay, so polyquarterman 55 is a polymer that puts a silky, it forms a film. It's a film former. Synthetic. Okay, so just water and something to make your hair hold. And what else
Mhm.
is in here? Oh, that's what I want to see is child.
We're getting all the answers from you today, girl. I hope you know.
Listen, I'm glad this gonna be recorded, right? Like it's gonna
It,
be out there.
it's gonna be out here.
Okay, good. Because it's
Unless YouTube crashes on me, the show is that it's going to be recorded.
because I'm like, good, then folks can, go on back and listen to it, refer to it, what have
Mhm.
you. Because this has been a time.
It really has.
And I'm happy to do it because I want natural hair to be easy for us. I want
And I
it to
think a
be.
lot of us want that too, and that's why we felt victim to this method. I don't want to put it that way. There's some good that came out of it. That's still coming out. I think we're learning a lot. Case in point, this entire conversation, right? Like I think we've learned so much about ingredients, not only
Mhm.
for hair, but also that's good for your body and overall. So there's a lot that's coming out. And like the way forward for me is to keep it simple, keep it easy
Yeah.
and healthy at the same time.
The less synthetic, the best. Like I said, there's not too many synthetics that are like, I'm going to say confidently about 5% of the synthetics are actually neutral to where they don't cause any type of harm to your body system, the environment, or your hair. The
Okay.
rest of them, you better look real close and just go the other way because it they're not good. They're not
No,
good.
they're not
So
good.
this polycordium 55, I'm trying to find out like if there's any health implications to it. That's what I'm looking for right now. Um I'm not seeing any. So it just allows for the durable shaping of hairstyles. It's in nail care products, surprisingly, as well as hair care products. Um, yeah, hair setting polymers. So this is something that has to come off with a clarifying shampoo. This is not something that you can use and then think you're going to be doing sulfate free cleansing and it's not going to be still there building up on your hair.
Mm,
Um, it's going to be there. But yeah, I can't right now find any health and environmental warnings about the thing.
okay. And I mean, we can definitely update the description box later on to
Absolutely. And then it's cocamidopropyl hydrosyltane is pretty much the same thing based on what I'm seeing. And then they have the aloe vera juice and the vitamin E and citric acid, silk amino acids. Okay, that's lovely. Polysorbate 20. That's not so bad. It's more so an environmental toxin than it is a toxin to people. Fragrance. I mean, so
yeah, we talked about fragrance.
yeah, is we just put some under it. And again, they're telling you it performs better if you don't put nothing under it. Well, of course it does, but what is not putting under something under it doing to your hair and doing to your health? So
Those are the main concerns.
for me, now for those who just wanted to look good until it don't, then knock yourself
All right. All right. Last question, and then we're gonna get up out of here. What are your thoughts on banana oil? And you know what? I've been hearing banana oil
out.
circulating lately.
Now
What
that's
do
a
you
new one for me. I
think?
don't know much about banana oil from Is that
I
on
think
there?
you meant
Or
Honduras.
Honduran? Huh. I'd have to research banana oil, but I'm gonna say like in general, most plant-based oils and things have good benefits. Most like even the rice, the rice water thing that's floating around. It's like yeah, it has some benefits, but do the benefits like outweigh the risk, which aren't even really risky when it comes to the rice water thing. It's more about like the base that they were putting this rice water in. So if you're using just straight rice water, go for it. If you're using rice water in these toxic super products, because they be listening to what we're doing and what we're on, not so good. So I'd have to look into banana oil because it's not one that I'm familiar with. So let me make a note to like look into that.
All right, one more question because I say the last one, and then
That's
it's
what the
like
last one.
y'all come with a juicy one. What are your thoughts on grease? That's an easy one, I guess. But
Like petroleum-based grease.
okay, I'm
Okay.
prepared
So
for a
so this
follow
is
up question.
so this is what grease does that the oils and the butters do. Like they all are pretty similar in their like lipid protective factor, meaning like they can coat the strand and keep water, in longer. They all can do that, the naturals and the synthetics. Where the petroleum goes left is that is a petrochemical. And so it is heavily refined. There are solvents left behind in it. And there are studies that have proven that your rates of cancer, scalp and skin cancer, increase by 10% when exposed to UVA and UVB rays when you're using petroleum based products, because this is a petrochemical. This is not a naturally occurring grease. So I like oils and butters to serve the function of grease without the toxic risks. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So this
Is
is
there
why
such a
our
thing as a natural grease?
hmm?
Is there such a thing as a natural grease?
Yeah. Just go ahead and melt you down some butter and put some oil in it. Then it doesn't, solidify as much as it would because you diluted your butters and you put you some good oils in there.
Every time you say go ahead and do it, I'm just
Listen, I don't know one that is made just yet. I mean, mine's of course, but I don't know other brands that are formulating for scalp use and hair use also. So that is
that would be
something
pretty
that
cool.
yeah. Well, yeah, grease don't drip, but oils don't drip if you don't use too much. You use it a lot. If it's dripping, that's a lot. Oh, batana oil. Okay, that's what it
Yeah,
is.
sorry. I thought it was I thought it was banana oil.
Girl. Well, I mean, I think that's what it said. What is?
Hmm.
So yeah, I have to look into that one because I don't know much about batana oil.
All
But
right.
yeah,
Well, this has been a blast. We're gonna close it all out by letting
no,
you shamelessly plug your book. Everybody wants to
thank
know about the
you.
price, the and all the things. So I'll let you take it away.
Okay, so the ebook is called Natural Hair, Natural Life: Your Guide to Flawless Natural Hair Care and Non-Toxic Natural Hair Care Products. And so it's available on my website. In it, you're going to get how to care for your hair, washing, conditioning, deep conditioning, detangling, how often you need to trim, even the proper temperatures on which to heat style if you're brave like that, and then products for your hair type, as well as the common ingredients to avoid in a lot of these natural hair care products that are not really natural. You'll also get references to or resources to finding a stylist if when you want to partner with one. And so it's available on my website. It's $33.33, which I feel like is a good investment for the wealth of knowledge that you'll receive. You don't really need much else other than what products to use and what ingredients to avoid, which will continue to get updated as time goes on because those things change. But that's pretty much it. It's like the amalgamation of my expertise in a written living format that most naturals I would really benefit from. And I say most because there are some of us out here that are really experienced. Like we know what we know, everything's working. We're on the all natural thing, and things are good. But for those that I feel like we need to like really lock in on a regimen and have a good increase our knowledge base on what's really good for our hair and how to be caring for it. That's for you. And then for people who need more than that, that need a consultation, like they have color, things like that, there's consultation offerings available on the website also.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it has been so much fun sitting on the couch with you, Amena. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise, your knowledge with all of us. I think we have a good baseline to take with us and continue in terms of how to make this work, what to avoid, what we should focus on. And I still, maybe I'm naive, but I think there is something there that we can take, tweak, and move on, especially when it comes to these products, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think for a lot of us, a simple thing is a little product switch and
Yeah.
boom, everything's
Yeah.
connecting, or addition of something. For
Mm-hmm.
example, someone will add a leave-in and it's like that's all they needed
Yeah.
and they go on their merry way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, today we definitely went into a little bit of the ingredient rabbit hole because at some point people are like, my God, everything is toxic. What should we use? Like,
Yeah, and like I said, it's
ahead.
not everything, but it definitely is a lot.
It's a
And
lot.
we're going to be making decisions based on our individual health standards when we
Absolutely.
know, right, what it is that we're up against. So,
And
yeah.
I compare it to, for example, the grocery store. You have so many items in the like. I don't even go up and down the aisles anymore because all of that is just junk. Nothing is good for your health in there. But if you
Mm-hmm.
go and you shop the perimeter of the store, if you get your fruits, your vegetables, um, if you eat meat and you make sure that your meat is clean, then you're on your merry way. So a lot was said, a lot was shared. We
Mm-hmm.
thank you so much. And if there's any last words, well,
No, but you know what? Just thank you for having me. Thank you for taking the time to pour into your community, right? Because there's so many naturals out there that just really want to know that they're doing the best thing that they could be doing for their hair. And I could tell by looking at your content and just your ask for like, can somebody tell us what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Like that you really genuinely care about what's healthy for the hair. And so I just want to thank you for being here, for being you, for doing what you're doing for the community, and for seeing the value in what I'm offering to bring me on and share with your community. So I hope that folks have found it helpful. I hope that it's encouraging us to put a little bit more work, just a little bit more time into evaluating these ingredients, because I promise you, our natural sisters did not foresee needing to sue these companies down about their health. You know what I'm saying?
mhm, that's true.
Like right now, like there all types of cancers are going on, and these ingredients, like I looked them up, they tell you cancer, endocrine disruption, neurotoxin, they tell you.
Mhm.
So right? So it's a choice now. It's okay, am I gonna consciously avoid these things, or am I gonna take my chances and just hope it don't happen?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I,
and I
I
mean,
want people to know. I want people to at least have the choice to make a informed decision. And so this is why I chose the path I chose in the natural hair industry. And the path that I chose with the line that I'm creating, no, it is not the most profitable. Like I make a nice coin, but it ain't as nice a coin if I was using a bunch of cheap toxic ingredients. You feel me?
absolutely.
I can't do it. That's not what I'm here for.
Mhm.
So it is not the type of legacy I want to lead. And I don't think some of these other brands want that too. I just think maybe they don't know. I think maybe they don't know. They don't know how bad these things are. Just like they don't know to stay out the processed food out in the grocery store. Like everybody comes into knowing at their own time.
I don't know though. I just feel like if you're formulating a product and you're using a bunch of different ingredients, like you would look into them. You would want to do the heavy duty lifting of researching and making sure that the community that you're serving is getting the best of your products. Of course, there's the other side, which is I got to make a profit. I got to make this work. Let me put it, slap it all together. But at that point, you know what you're doing,
Mhm.
which is very alarming when you think about it. But I think a lot of us, if you were not aware before, we're becoming more aware now, especially
Mhm.
nowadays. There's so
Mhm.
many diseases, and not just like, we think of diseases like cancer and et cetera, but there's all like the mental diseases that are coming out. And I think it's all connected. The body, the mind, the soul is all
It
connected. And
is.
if we're not treating it right, then we're gonna start having a lot of issues. And we think about our kids too. Like I think about my daughter, like I'll do her hair, which is like one of it brings me so much joy. But and I'm like, should I be using this product? Right? Like you're looking at it like it looks good. It tells you it's for babies, but what's
But
actually in it?
mhm.
But anyways, this was a fun conversation.
I had a good time too. I'm sorry to
Very
be the
fun.
breaker of hearts and the bearer of like news we do not want to hear, but it's for the best. It really really is, because all I could think is like, oh my god, like if we do not make a massive shift,
Mhm.
10, 15, 20, you know what I'm saying, the health issues, are going to
Yeah.
start, making their way through our communities, and you going to have too many sisters wondering why they couldn't make it past, bra strap length or whatever the hell it is, because the hair is being eaten up, it's
Yeah.
being torn down faster than is normal.
Yeah.
Get,
And I think
get
we
up here.
the biggest piece for me too is the fact that we hold the power as a consumer. We can say no, we don't want these products, or no, we don't want these ingredients. We're
Yeah.
not gonna keep supporting a business, for example, that is pumping toxic ingredients into their products. Like
Hmm.
we have that power if we get together and
Yeah.
exercise our rights to
Yep.
get
Like,
better, cleaner products for us, our environment, and our families.
absolutely. Like there's one brand that I recommend in the ebook, and in her whole entire line, there was only one product that I had an issue with, one ingredient. The whole line is clean, is great. One ingredient, and I emailed her and I'm like, hey sis, because I formulate products. How about you switch this for that? Just think about it, because that right there is harmful, and your whole brand says you're better than that. I don't know if she gonna do it or not, but
I thought you were gonna say she did it. I was like, okay, all right, we're gonna
I
end
don't
this
know, because
conversation on a light
when you're
note.
busy and you got lots of things going on. I don't know, because we buy these things in bulk, because I don't know if you're gonna use it till it's gone. And I don't know what you're gonna do, but I took the time to hit her up as a consumer and say, hey, I done looked through your whole thing, your whole line. It's stellar. There is one product that has this one ingredient that is, here's the info. It's not healthy. If you switch this for that, I already told her what to put in it,
Mhm.
because it would give the same. It's a coloring agent. Okay,
Yeah,
girl, girl, can't nobody touch you.
that's
And
it.
so we can do that. We
Well,
can do
you did your work. You definitely did, and you gave her exactly what to switch. So the ball's in her court.
that. Hey,
Last question, because I feel like this is gonna help you out, girl.
mm,
The hair growth bundle. What's going on with that? Is it sold out?
yes, everything is sold out. We are changing manufacturing and distribution facilities right now from one state to the other. So I anticipate having things back in the spring. So folks got to kind of stay tuned for that.
All
But in
right,
the meantime, the other products I recommend are definitely available.
sounds good. Well, on
Yeah.
that note, thank you so much for joining Couch
Thank
Conversation.
you.
It's been a pleasure hanging out with everyone, and I hope that we all make better decisions for our hair
I hope so too. And our health.
and our health. That's true. Thank you so much for watching, and
Thank
I'll see you
y'all.
guys on another video. Bye.
Bye.